9BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Hey, a very good afternoon to you as we welcome you on into Rochester's only local sports talk show. It's the Sports Bar, Danger and Battaglia. We're so happy that you're listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950, The Fan Rochester, and the free-to-download Odyssey app, and watching along on our Twitch stream or YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
How many platforms? We haven't gotten up to 9 yet.
I think we're pretty close, and maybe we can get Pizza Dude
9 times
to get us over that nine platform threshold that we've been looking to break. I think X is where we need to be.
That's the one.
X is where we need to be. I think we're close, but we're not quite there yet. We've got a great show lined up for you here in the Sports Bar this afternoon. It's Wednesday, which means we're going to get some winners when we talk to the host of Send It In on the BetMGM network. That's our buddy PJ Glasser, Odyssey Sports Betting Insider. Insider calls presented by BetMGM. Check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app.
So we could have half of the NBA Finals set tonight. Oklahoma City taking on Minnesota. OKC with a chance to wrap this up in 5. We'll get PJ's thoughts on this. And certainly Indiana, they're looking like they're going to be advancing in the final too, barring something miraculous from the Knicks. We will talk a little baseball about some of the games coming up in the Memorial, also in golf. So if you'd like a little action, PJ's our guy coming up in the 4 o'clock hour.
Later on this hour, we'll get to the Buffalo Bills and OTAs with Alex Brasky of the Batavia Daily News, who's stopping by in about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, we'll get Alex's thoughts on who looked impressive to him, and credit him because he's out there taking photos too. Like, it's like in the days and age of like, hey, you're a print guy, you're a radio. Now you're pretty much everything. So Alex yesterday just taking a shot of Keon Coleman, and you look like, okay, that looks different if you do a side-by-side as compared to last year. With the talk about Keon Coleman, putting in the work as soon as the season ended. All right, it's evident, but is that going to translate? Well, we'll talk to our buddy Alex Brasky, Batavia Daily News, Bills Digest, the Right Here, Right Now podcast.
Stop by the Sports Bar, pull up a stool, and join us. The Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line is open for you at 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street in East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com.
Got my eye on the Mets game. You can't lose to the White Sox.
I said the same thing when I walked into the studio today, and Dan DeLorean, also a Mets fan, says, "Oh, they won the series." I'm like, okay, well, great. You won this series. You don't get a cookie for winning this series against the White Sox. I don't think.
No, not on Get It. You want to sweep these guys. In fact, I've been jokingly saying this is the Mets bye week. You have the White Sox. You know who have you after this? You have the Rockies.
Yeah.
Losing one this week is a failure. So, all right, it's bottom of the 5th. White Sox leading 5-3, and as you mentioned, there's nobody there. And I guess credit Major League Baseball. Years ago, they wouldn't do this. They looked at the forecast down in New York and like, wait a second, are we going to get this game in? Let's play this at 1 o'clock. So kind of sucks if you had tickets to the game, but
right.
Yeah.
You know what? That's funny. Now that I think about it, I remember before I went to Citi Field last month, or was it earlier this month? It was earlier this month. I remember looking at the Mets schedule and not seeing a ton of day games. I'm like, well, they're really like the best day game was that game that we went to see Arizona when they were at Citi Field. And so I probably would have circled this one and been like, oh, it's the White Sox at Citi Field. I would have gone to that. I would have maybe made that an option had I known that there was Mets. So I was a little like shook when I saw, wait, what do you mean they're playing during the day? Mets shouldn't be playing right now. So that's that is different, right? Major League Baseball never used to do that. They would just kind of kick the can down the road, get a doubleheader in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, think about the logistics, too, like having to bring the White Sox back for one game. Like, they call today getaway day. Like, okay, you're doing the White Sox a favor there. So, we'll keep an eye on that and the other scores for you today.
And speaking of New York sports, rest in peace to the NBA season. It was fun while it lasted. I don't know that I'm excited about an OKC Indiana final. I mean, it's young talent on display. I guess there's something to be excited about a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Halliburton final. But come on, I mean, if the Knicks are done, and it sure feels like they're done, what are we paying attention to in the NBA?
Yeah, will this be the lowest rated final since a tape delay? I mean, let's be honest. It's not going to excite anybody. Two small markets in Indianapolis and Oklahoma City should be good basketball. Even Minnesota finds a way. But typical Knicks. I mean, they were right there at the end. And to me, it seems apparent that where Brunson is this guy that can carry a team to a certain point at this level, not so much. I'm kind of the subscriber that, all right, a little less Brunson, a little more Karl Anthony Towns here, please.
I think Cat can take over a game, but I feel like he's somewhat inconsistent too. The thing that I love Brunson because he comes off to me as a killer. When you need a guy to make a play, Brunson can be that guy. He's a killer, but I don't know that he's a player that makes everybody around him better. And you can see SGA making players around him better. You can see Halliburton making those around him better. You can't let Obi Toppin do that to you if you're the Knicks. Come on. So I just think that's if I have a knock on Brunson, it feels like he isn't that guy that elevates the play of everybody around him.
Yeah, he's peak Russell Westbrook. When a whole year Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double. But by doing that, you got to make sure it comes through you in that regard. And so maybe they figure this out. I'm not going to say the Knicks fall tomorrow night. I think going back home, send it to 6. A lot of people had Indiana in 6 to begin with here. So we'll see where that goes. But teams coming back down 3-1 does not happen that often in the NBA.
Couple of NFL notes from OTAs around the league right now. Where do you want to start here? Because I know we've got to get our
Diggs.
You want to start with Diggs?
Diggs,
I was going to say, I know you got to get our Aaron Rodgers quota in, but let's start with Diggs because my opinion is if you're a Bills fan worried about what Stephon Diggs will be in New England, seeing the Bills twice this season, maybe this will put you at ease. If you haven't seen it, Diggs is going viral for a video that surfaced from over the holiday weekend of him on a Miami yacht, partying with his apparent girlfriend, Cardi B. You have a bevy of gold diggers holding court on the boat, and Diggs flashing a baggie of what looks like pink cocaine. Looks like Tusi.
Yeah, they TMZ calls it mystery pink substance. The Patriots were asked about it. This is Mike Vrabel. Quote, "It's something that we're aware of. Obviously, we want to make great decisions on and off the field, and we're hoping that with our time here and on the field today, pivot, that we don't have a script where we're calling whatever. Just talking about great decisions, Mike Vrabel today. We would be losing our minds."
Could you imagine if this was – and I've seen some Patriot reaction. I mean, I guess if you've had murderers on your team, a guy flashing a bag of what looks like a drug isn't as big of a deal. But a lot of Patriot fans are like, yeah, that's our wide receiver one. I'm like, really? That's your wide receiver one? And you're excited about that? Because I honestly, like, I didn't know Stephon Diggs could make Offset from Migos look like the Pope.
Here's the quote, too. The message, this is Mike Vrabel, the message will be the same for all our players. We're trying to make great decisions, and any conversations that I've had with Stephon will remain between him and I and the club. Well, you're already kind of saying he's indirectly that he's making wrong decisions here. If it were Jamar Chase, if it were, back in the day, Odell Beckham Jr., I don't think we're thinking about this. This is somebody that's coming off a major knee injury. This is somebody who accepted the contract from the Patriots. This is somebody that the Patriots are actually looking to take them to the next level, looking for the young quarterback, much like how Josh Allen was his second year. Hey, we need, actually third, we need somebody better at the wide receiver position. Enter Diggs. Here's Drake May in year number 2. And this is the example. I think a lot of things danger this time of year get overblown. Myles Garrett's not at OTAs. Who cares? James Cook is not at OTAs. Yeah, we kind of figured that. This is not a good look for Diggs and the Patriots.
I don't think it is. And he also is not at OTAs. They're voluntary, as we all know, as we hear over and over and over again. But the look itself is just a little bit concerning. And you say what you want about like OBJ back in the day, taking going out with his teammates on the boat and doing, like they're living their life and they're doing the things that they want to do in the off season. Hard for us to tell them how to live. But if that is indeed what we think it is, and Diggs is flashing that around like it's no big deal, that's where I have a problem. Like, okay, is that for them? Is that for you? Is that for everybody? Because you're a professional athlete, and everything that goes into your body should be scrutinized, especially if you're rehabbing, especially if you're trying to come back with a new team and be a part of the player that you were at your peak. I don't want to make too big of a deal out of it because it's the offseason, but at minimum, I agree with you. This is not a great look for the Patriots or for Steph Diggs.
No, and we should point out, did Diggs come to OTAs in Buffalo? No. Remember, he didn't that whole offseason where we saw him. I saw him personally, like blow his gasket after the Cincinnati loss. Didn't hear from him other than social media, tidbits here and there. And then he shows up in June and he has the blow up with McDermott. So his whole last season in Buffalo was not around this time. Here would be my advice to any player, and again, you have every right to stay away from the facility, but it's worth the investment to just hire some security and tell your guests to put the damn phone away. Like that's like honestly, like this ends up
Impossible.
On TMZ.
Impossible in the world we live in now. Impossible. Everybody on that boat wants to showcase that they're on that boat. Everybody that's on that boat
then don't let them on the boat.
Is taking a picture to share on Instagram, to a video to share with their friend. You'll never believe what I got to do, who I got to hang with, where I was. That's all that world is, man. It's all about clout. That's impossible. An impossible ask for people to put away holster their phones while they're on a yacht in Miami Memorial Day weekend.
Dude, you do it now. A lot of concerts you do this where you put it in a little bag and they're gonna bring it out.
That's not happening. Not with this. Not in that lifestyle. Not with what they're doing. Not when that's really everything. It's all image. It's all and Diggs knows that, which is why I'm kind of surprised that this is out there. That this clip has surfaced. And begs to wonder, like, is this what Diggs does every offseason? Is this the lifestyle that he was leading when he was with the Buffalo Bills? We don't know because we didn't really hear much about that. I think the first couple of years Diggs was here, we didn't have any reports of off-season issues. I mean, he was kind of a good team. He was a good teammate from what we heard. This just doesn't feel like a great look for the Patriots.
He's I guess Cardi B is in this video too.
Yeah, she's his girlfriend.
Is she more famous than Diggs?
Cardi B?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so, like, you're on her boat, essentially. If she wants
right.
To, yeah.
Like, if they're both at the Met, Cardi B is getting the more paparazzi. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that means she's more famous than him, but it means she's attracting more eyeballs than him. Let's put it that way.
It's is Haley Steinfeld more famous than Josh Allen?
Depends on the context in that one. If you're talking about Hollywood elites and Hollywood this and Hollywood that, I would say there are people in Hollywood that don't care about Josh Allen being the MVP of the NFL. In New York State, Josh Allen is more popular than Haley Steinfeld.
Globally, it's Steinfeld. Like Josh Allen could go over to, Paris, rip his pants, and nobody knows who he is.
Correct. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so that's Steph Diggs going viral for all the wrong reasons, and the Patriots with it's just not a great look. And Vrabel, having that making great decisions on and off the field.
Wait, what are we talking about? This is like Pop Warner.
It's what we're talking about. Like part of being a manager or a coach is you're really kind of like distilling it down to like I'm talking to children. I'm dealing with children. Like, how would you deal with your kids if you heard that they were at a party where drugs were being distributed? You would say, kind of like what Vrabel said, hey, put yourself in good situations, make great decisions when you're out, and, good things will usually happen if you do if you make those good decisions. We're all just a collection of our choices. So that's the news out of New England. Then you have what's going on in Pittsburgh, and it's another day, and it's more kind of fuel every day that he's not there, that Rodgers isn't in Pittsburgh working with the team. It just feels more and more like the fan base is over it, and not just the fan base now. I would say teammates, and I would say Pittsburgh royalty are against the idea, the notion that the Steelers appear to be holding out for Aaron Rodgers to be their quarterback this year.
You know, we're approaching the month of June and July, and get ready for Mount Rushmore talk, right? So, who's on the Mount Rushmore? But if you said who's on the Mount Rushmore Pittsburgh sports, you may disagree with me, but Terry Bradshaw, quarterback, won 4 Super Bowls, accomplished in other areas. Just a really interesting individual, right? Led a unique life. But in Pittsburgh, he's beloved. And when he speaks, okay, people are going to pay attention. And Danger, his quote, that guy needs to stay in California. Go somewhere and chew on bark. Whisper to the gods out there.
Chew on bark is great. Chew on bark. You don't like somebody, tell them to chew on bark.
Go stay in California. Go away.
Oh, man.
We don't want you.
You remember back in March, Cam Hayward had this to say about Rodgers. I ain't doing that darkness retreat. I don't need any of that crap. Either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. That's simple. That's the pitch. If you want me to recruit, that's the recruiting pitch. Pittsburgh Steelers. If you want to be a part of it, so be it. If you don't, no skin off my back. It's just a reminder, Bradshaw's words, Cam Hayward's, reminder, you're the Pittsburgh freaking Steelers. You're this proud organization. You can't let a guy that you don't want to pay $10 million to dictate terms and now be a distraction even though he's not there. You have Darius Slay telling Steelers media today, this is where championship football starts. Everybody has to buy in, and this is the time to buy in. Everybody has an extracurricular life outside of football. They have families, they have plans, they have vacations, but they make the time that they need to make, even though it's voluntary, to be a part of the team, to be there, to build those relationships, to get those reps. And the comments of Slay, the comments of Hayward earlier in the offseason, certainly Bradshaw's comments, they all paint a picture of a fan base and a team that may just be growing tired of this whole act.
It wasn't until yesterday that there was this kind of minor story in regards to OTAs with another team that I'm like, oh, wait a second, there's that. Have we been looking at this, the Steeler fans, everybody looking at this the wrong way when it comes to Rodgers and the Steelers? Let's put Rodgers aside, right? He thinks he's going to be, signing with them eventually. Maybe he retires, but he loves himself being in the news cycle. But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, right, you would have thought if you wanted Rodgers, okay, what's the issue? Money, pay him the $10 million. Boom, it's done. Oh, that's not the issue. Actually, we actually want another quarterback, but it's a negotiation. And by keeping Rodgers out there right now, maybe this other team will come off of their demands. We're not talking about draft compensation or anything like that. It's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins right now is owed $37.5 million in guarantees. So who eats that? Well, right now it's the Falcons, and the Falcons are saying, well, if you want Kirk Cousins, you eat it. So I would imagine that any team that trades for Kirk Cousins, it's not about draft picks. It's about, all right, what is the actual contract like Kirk Cousins? And Cousins staying away from Atlanta tells me, all right, what's the point of going to Falcons camp if I'm not going to be a Falcon? Kirk Cousins always kind of struck me as being kind of a team-first guy. He didn't really complain last year. So what is this really about? Would Steeler fans be okay? I think they'd be more than okay, Kirk Cousins. And maybe could the Steelers just be using this as a smokescreen to get the Falcons to say, you pay this up?
Yeah, I'm sure that could be part of it. But I think what the Steelers showed us based on their actions last year, review, Kenny Pickett gone. They bring in Russ. They bring in Justin Fields. They pay those guys next to nothing because that's what they valued them as. If they felt Justin Fields was more of a value, they would have paid him more. They would have paid Russ more. They didn't. They took them at the value price. And I think they got used to having that value price at quarterback. You haven't really paid for quarterback since Roethlisberger was there. And they put a price tag on what they believe the player is able to give them. I imagine their price tag on Aaron Rodgers is not the $10 million that Rodgers is seeking for 1 year worth of play. They're probably viewing it as like, you're halfway retired already. We're going to pay you about what we paid Russell Wilson last year, who still wants to actually ball. And then to Kirk Cousins, I would say the same thing. Like, what do they value Kirk Cousins as? What can they get out of Kirk Cousins for this year and maybe next year if they were to pull the trigger on that kind of a trade? What's their valuation of Kirk Cousins?
Well, there is something with Cousins, and credit his agent on this, is that no, he's not a free agent, but kind of the way he is. He's got a full no trade. So by having that full no trade, okay, I want to make sure I get my money in whatever structure that it is. And it's a negotiation with the Falcons. It's a negotiation with Cousins himself. It's complicated. And the only thing you could have as leverage is, well, we've got 41-year-old guy sitting over here.
And honestly, like, if you're the Steelers, you have no choice. At this point, you have to play it as if you're going to start this season with a quarterback who was once benched for Duck Hodges and a rookie and Will Howard. I mean, like, that's really what you're going to camp with. And they're arrogant enough where I would say, yeah, that might just be what they're going to camp with. Because I don't know that they want to pay Rodgers his $10 million. And I don't know what it would take to get Kirk Cousins out of Atlanta, but it's probably more than what the Steelers are willing to give up.
Well, and it's traditionally, if you're thinking, well, isn't there a QB2 somewhere else that, is waiting and the Steelers could go trade for? No. You're in this position. Again, Pittsburgh does not have the leverage. Like, look in history. Like, the Vikings had to give up a first-round pick for Sam Bradford.
Right.
So Pittsburgh's not going to give up anything, and I don't know who that quarterback may be out there, but these are the options in front of the Steelers right now? and also, like, Rodgers doesn't care. He doesn't care.
To me, this is less a Rodgers story and more a Steelers story. Like, Rodgers is just there. I mean, like, the Steelers acting the way that they're acting is the story to me.
Who did they lose out on? Or did they think it would just be snap their fingers, Rodgers would be okay, or snap their fingers, Cousins would be okay? Because Geno Smith would have been a better option. He's in Vegas. Sam Darnold, good in credit. Like, he made his money and he's out in Seattle. Daniel Jones would have been a better option. Daniel Jones or going through all this nonsense right now.
It's very un-Steeler-like, but there's still an arrogance there with Tomlin, with that organization, where it wouldn't shock me if their plan all along was, we're not worried about it. It'll sort itself out. We'll get the guy in here that we want to get in here. We'll compete, and we'll see how it all shakes out. And they might start the season. They might certainly start the preseason with a quarterback who was once benched for Duck freaking Hodges. Just the idea that they would start Duck Hodges, Gino, should tell you all you need to know about the arrogance of the Pittsburgh Steelers. We can make it work with that guy. Yeah, okay, good luck.
Yeah, Googling backup quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo with the Rams. Forgot he's out there.
Nah. No, I'm telling you, they're going to continue down this path. They're going to play it the way they're playing it right now. It's going to be Rudolph and Will Howard until Rodgers shows up. And when he shows up, most fans are going to be upset about it. They're not going to be excited that Rodgers is there. It's just so un-Steeler-like. We got to get back to the Bills and Alex Brasky covering the team for Bills Digest, the Batavia Daily News. We'll get his thoughts on yesterday's open practice at OTAs and talk a little bit about the absence of James Cook and the injury to Joey Bosa as well. Alex Brasky next on The Fan.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Another day of OTAs at One Bills Drive. Today closed to reporters. Defensive end Greg Rousseau putting in the work.
It's cool to be back. It's been a minute since we've been on the field with helmets on and stuff and in like a competitive mindset. So, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to be back, you know? Everybody brings their own style to the way they play, so to have new faces that are going to help us out, it's been exciting because everybody kind of, like I said, carries a different skill set.
We will talk some Bills football coming up next. Alex Brasky, Batavia Daily News and the Bills Digest joining us. Rochester Red Wings have now won 3 in a row, shutting out Columbus today 5-0. Same 2 teams tomorrow at Innovative Field. On the Major League scoreboard, the Mets are trailing the White Sox in the 7-3. Dodgers and Guardians tied at 4 in the 8th. Giants trailing in Detroit 4-3 in the 8th. Red Sox and Brewers tied at 4 in the 8th. Gene Battaglia, The Fan, Rochester.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
OTAs in progress. Alex Brasky covering the Buffalo Bills for the Batavia Daily News and Bills Digest joins us now. Get your thoughts from yesterday's session that was open to the media, Alex. It's good to have you on with us, and not a surprise on a couple of fronts. Not a surprise that James Cook wasn't there for the voluntary portion of the offseason program, and not a surprise that Joey Bosa is already injured.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Certainly the Bosa news, not ideal. The Cook news, I think, a little bit less concerning. You kind of knew what his situation was coming into the offseason program. He's made his desire very well known that he wants a new contract before he hits the field this season. So not seeing him out there during the voluntary portion, not a surprise. I also don't think that we'll see him out there during the mandatory portion of the offseason program. But I think the concern level starts to raise if he's not out there come training camp. If we see him hold out or perhaps hold in, with Hard Knocks there, I think that's when that really becomes a true storyline. It kind of has been a budding storyline throughout this offseason, but if we don't see him out there on the field come training camp, I think that's when you start getting concerned if you're the Bills or a Bills fan. When it comes to Bosa, I think the nature of the injury is what's most concerning. It being a soft tissue injury, a aging player, someone who's not really that long in the tooth, but somebody who's getting up there in years and who's been off injured throughout his career, seeing him sustain a soft tissue injury during what I would believe would be a relatively low strenuous workout with the team in recent days, that certainly sparks a little bit of concern. But that being said, you want Bosa out there come January, December and January. That's really what you signed him for, to be that closer come playoff time. But you don't like to see it.
Alex, I will compliment you. Alex Brasky, only a writer, you're a photographer. And one of the shots you took yesterday, like, we heard the comments from Sean McDermott talking about Keon Coleman, but then you look like, ooh, that did look like he put in a little bit of work. Your thoughts on what you saw out of the second-year wide receiver yesterday, that coupled with, kind of Sean McDermott saying some nice things here?
Wow, I got to come on more often, getting compliments. This is great. I really picked up my photography niche through covering high school sports, really out of necessity. Covering high school sports at a local paper, you really have to be able to do many different things, and photography has been something I've picked up over the years. And I think I caught Coleman at the perfect angle. He was wearing his sleeves up, and as you mentioned, Sean McDermott before the practice said how he was impressed with how Coleman has put in work throughout the offseason, building strength and adding obvious muscle. And you could see it yesterday from that angle that I took that photo at. He was gripping the ball with 2 hands, really flexing as he was doing so. And you can see the bulk that he's added throughout the offseason, and I think that's only going to bode well for him, When you look at his skill set, an above-the-rim player, somebody who likes to win those contested catches, he was already a physical freak and somebody who didn't lack size, I wouldn't say, but to build onto that and to add strength, I think is only going to suit him well as he moves forward in his career. And also, I think that can help you recover from injury a little bit quicker, something that can help players along the outside. If you're dealing with maybe a hampered toe or a hampered leg, something like that, if you're able to put on that weight and become a more physical player, maybe you can get away with a little bit of a decrease in speed or something that's hampering you in that sense if you're able to body up against some of these cornerbacks on the outside.
He's Alex Brasky at Bills Digest, stopping by the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia, where we like to play within the framework of the rules. Those were the words of Sean McDermott yesterday when he was asked about the failed proposal to ban the tush push. How disingenuous was Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills through the course of this offseason in being the only team in the division to vote yes on that proposal to ban the play that they had a lot of success with last season?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, the tack that they took in that regard. Knowing how often they use the play, now it didn't work very well for them in the AFC Championship game, as we all know, but throughout the course of the season in the past few years, Josh Allen in short yardage has been one of the team's most successful plays. The only thing that I can consider is perhaps Terry Pagula got into the ear of Sean McDermott and the Bills coaching staff, front office, and maybe he doesn't like to see his prized quarterback be shoved from behind into 300-pound defenders multiple times per game. But as you mentioned, it certainly was curious knowing how much success that they've had with the play and knowing how they really haven't experienced much injury trouble as a result of that play, knowing that was really the sticking point with them, the health and the ramifications in that regard. But I would like to see the play be removed from the game. I don't think it really has a place in football. If you want to push a pile, that's one thing. But if you want to push somebody directly, this isn't rugby. And I think you're just waiting for a catastrophic injury to one of these quarterbacks when they're cut low or something like that, when they're being pushed from behind to really expedite the process to get it removed from the game.
Alex Brasky right here, right now, podcast, Bills Digest, Batavia Daily News, writer, photographer, podcaster, everything. More compliments coming your way, Bradsky. Tell me, there are players that I think that are interesting in terms of, do they make the team? Do they become starters? Derek Force being one of them. And you caught up yesterday with another guy that, I could see him being a really decent contributor, but then maybe he doesn't even make the team. What are your thoughts on how Elijah Moore might fit into the picture here with the Bills?
Yeah, I'm really excited about him. It's only one day. We only got to watch him at Tuesday's practice, but the speed is apparent. He is a speedy receiver, something that the Bills have been missing along the outside, that outright get away from you speed, and that's what Elijah Moore has. I think he can be used as a motion man. He's somebody that could win in short spaces and win down the field. We saw him run past Tre'Davious White, certainly not the most fleet-of-foot player at this stage of his career, knowing his injury history, but like I said, the speed was apparent, and if he's able to gain that quick rapport with Josh Allen, something that I don't think has been one of Allen's strengths over the years, maybe incorporating those new wide receivers that the Bills get off the free agent pile. You look at Trent Sherfield and Deontay Hardy that year, and really there's been a list of receivers in the past. I know Mac Hollins came in last year and was really used well by the Bills, but I think if they're able to come in and gain that quick rapport with Josh Allen in terms of Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore, as you mentioned, I think these players can really bring this wide receiver core to another level. I think the ceiling for this group is much higher this year than it was at this point last year. But with that said, it's a lot of unproven. Elijah Moore hasn't really exploded with any of his stops. Joshua Palmer has put some quality games on film, but I think he's going to be asked to do a little bit more here in Buffalo, so interested to see how he latches on. Like I said, I'm excited that the ceiling is much higher with these skill sets that they've brought in, but I think they're going to have to prove it, and we'll see as the offseason goes along how they're going to start using more. Just judging on Tuesday's practice, I'm excited to see the different ways they might utilize him within this offense.
Alex, you mentioned earlier that James Cook not being at OTA, not a big deal. If there's a hold-in or something of the sort at training camp, with Hard Knocks being there, that could become a bigger storyline. And I just wanted to get your take on what Sean McDermott had to say about Hard Knocks. He said all the right things at the press conference, but I think everybody that watches the NFL, covers the NFL, knows there isn't really a team out there raising their hand to say, yeah, we want to be the team that's on Hard Knocks.
Right, and I think the Bills, as Sal Capaccio mentioned yesterday during conversations on the practice field, I think the Bills' reluctance to announce their participation in Hard Knocks, they haven't come out with anything on social media. I think that just shows you how reluctant they are to participate, and perhaps showing the league that they're not going to be eager participants this year in the proceedings. I think they have a lot of players that have big personalities and could do really well on the show. And I mentioned the James Cook saga that could really build come training camp time. But I don't think the Bills are eager to do this. They're the first playoff team from a season ago to be selected for the show. So I think if you asked Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane in a candid situation, they would tell you that this is the last thing they wanted to do this year. But with that said, you have the reigning MVP. You have a team that really seems to capture the hearts of America, and you have a team that's really been pushing for a Super Bowl appearance and has been on the precipice the past few years. I think it's the perfect team for Hard Knocks in terms of that, but like you said, I don't think the Bills are raising their hand or shouting that they wanted to be a part of this. I think this was just something that was forced on them, and they're going to make the most out of the opportunity. But they're one of the most buttoned-up organizations in the NFL. You don't see any leaks throughout the season, during the draft, anything like that. So I don't think you'll see any salaciousness on Hard Knocks, but perhaps you'll see some big personalities like a Deion Dawkins, a Keon Coleman. Maybe you'll see those guys shine a little bit. I know we talked with Deion Dawkins yesterday, and he's really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, you know how this, and you're leading into my next question. There's going to be like 5 guys they follow along, and maybe Dawkins is one of them. Who, if you were the casting director, I'm going to give you one name here that I think would be a shoe-in. I think the storyline of Tre'Davious White, who has a big personality, but now he's in a different spot in his career, and he's fighting to make a roster spot. But Hard Knocks, they love to follow the guy, just watch him get cut at the end. So, I mean, your thoughts on who we might be seeing beyond some of the big names here, guys with big personalities.
Jackson Hawes, the tight end. Speaking with him after he was drafted over Zoom, you could tell that he's got a big personality, and I think he's got the game to go with it. I asked Dalton Kincaid about Hawes yesterday and his pass-catching ability. He comes in as a block-first player, somebody who's highly regarded for his ability to come in those extra tight end sets and deliver the punch in the running game. But we watched him during rookie minicamp. He was going up, catching balls all over the field. He didn't make as much of an impact yesterday during OTAs, but I think this is a player with a big personality, although he's a rookie and maybe doesn't have the confidence that a veteran would have in terms of being outspoken on camera or something like that. But I think this is a player that's not only going to win the hearts and minds of Bills fans with his on-field production, I also think he's got the personality and drive also to go with it. I think he's got a good backstory as well. So Jackson Hawes is a player I would keep my eye on. And then you look at Alec Anderson, of course. He's got the great personality and maybe somebody who's got the name recognition due to his increased role over the past few years, the name recognition amongst Bills fans, but nationally, I don't think anybody knows who Alec Anderson is. And I think by the end of Hard Knocks, everybody's going to know who Alec Anderson is.
Alex, let's talk about another rookie who has an opportunity in front of him with the Bosa injury here, at least through this offseason. What was your impression of rookie Landon Jackson yesterday at practice?
He's going to be a player. He was one of my favorite picks by the Bills out of the draft, and he just seems to fit in. He's got a great motor. We heard him talk after the rookie minicamp and how he's just trying to fit in out there. And a lot of times you see or you hear these players talk after coming into the league, and not that they're really talking boastful or anything, but you can tell with their tone or some of the comments they make that they think they have it all figured out. And Landon Jackson is not one of those players. He's somebody who is highly motivated to become better every day, and he's got the physical traits as well. He tested so well at the combine, and he's just a mountain of a man. He's not the thickest player, but he's got the length you need at the edge rusher position. And I think if he's able to develop his pass rushing skills and really that pass rushing repertoire, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. And I really think he's going to be a player with the Bills. I think he's going to fit in alongside Greg Rousseau for years to come.
If the most popular player in franchise history, I would also argue he's also the most powerful figure in the franchise. I'd also say he's the most popular figure in upstate New York. Talking about Josh Allen, if he's getting married supposedly this weekend, it's a story. What do we know about this as we kind of turn into TMZ and Page 6 here? What do we know about Josh Allen's pending nuptials here, Alex?
We don't know much. It's been pretty tight-lipped. Sean McDermott was asked about it yesterday. He didn't get into it. I know that Zach Sheldon, or Maniac as he's affectionately known at Trainwreck Sports in Buffalo, he tweeted earlier today that Josh Allen's going to have a few of his teammates at kind of a pre-wedding get-together, and I'm sure many of those teammates will also attend the wedding as well. So an exciting time for Josh Allen, an exciting time for really the entire Allen and Steinfeld family. I'm sure it's going to be a lavish affair. The movie star that Steinfeld is and the sports star that Josh Allen is. But, yeah, an exciting time and something that I think really the story is after the wedding. Maybe you get a video of the guys dancing to Mr. Brightside, as I think we saw at Dawson Knox's wedding a few years ago. Maybe we get some stories from the players down the road here during the off season. It'll be interesting to hear if there are any stories from those guys down the road.
Alex, break out the rest of the offseason for us here. What's the timeline? What's the schedule looking like here? What can we look forward to?
Yeah, our next time out with the Bills is this coming Tuesday. That will be, I believe, the last time until training camp. I haven't really looked ahead of that, but that's the next time we're out there. And then obviously looking forward to training camp come late July. Let's see here. No, we have June 3rd, another OTA day, and then June 10th through 12th, mandatory minicamp. And then come July, we'll have training camp. That's really my favorite time of year, training camp. We get all the great access. We get to hang out with you and Gene and all the other media members out there in Pittsford, get to enjoy the local fare there in Pittsford Dairy, and many other fine restaurants as well. So looking forward to training camp and looking forward to see how this James Cook saga develops. I think mandatory minicamp is really the next thing to look at, see if he's on the field there. I don't expect him to be. And then we'll see come training camp if it's a hold in, hold out, or if he surprises people and is out there on the field.
So, Alex, at least you get some time to take in Yankees-Dodgers this weekend. You know the Mets took 2 of 3 from the Dodgers.
Yeah, the Yankees won the Subway Series a few weeks ago.
That's only part one. We get you again in July here, bud.
Right, but we take the wins as they come, especially when they're against my hated Mets. Now, the Yankees, a lot of doubt surrounding the Yankees this offseason, and boy, all those people who doubted Aaron Boone over the years are looking mighty silly.
Oh, wait, whoa. I can take your shots, but you love Aaron Boone? Really?
Are you just meeting me, Gene? I am a coach-first guy. I am of the belief that coaches get far too much of the blame, particularly when they're heading up a perennially successful team.
Aaron Boone was asleep at the wheel in the World Series. Like, go out to the mound, calm things down. Not that would have, eventually the Dodgers probably would have won. But, Alex, you realize most Yankee fans would be like, yeah, it's time for a change here.
Yeah, and I think most Yankee fans are pretty unbearable to follow on Twitter, to be quite honest with you. It reeks of spoiled, rotten brats, and I am not a part of that bunch.
Mets trailing the White Sox 8-3 right now. Just wanted to throw that little update in there as well as we wrap up with Alex Brasky. Tell everybody what you're working on at Batavia Daily News and Bills Digest, bud.
The White Sox, wow, that's a historic team. Nothing to be ashamed about losing the White Sox, but thedailynewsonline.com, you can log on there, find all of our Bills coverage right here, right now. Live Buffalo Football Talk, we'll be getting that going. by the end of the week, and Bills Digest pre-training camp issue coming out July 14th.
Alex, always appreciate the time, and I'm sure we'll be talking again before training camp. So,
Thank you much, Gene. Thank you, Danger, and we'll talk to you soon.
There he is, Alex Brasky, covering the Bills for the Batavia Daily News and also Bills Digest, giving us his report from yesterday's session, OTAs in effect in Buffalo.
yeah, that last part, and again, where's the line when it comes to talking about Josh Allen's wedding? Well, it's kind of out there that as soon as OTAs are kind of wrapped up this week, Allen's flying out to California. Some of his teammates are as well. I would just wonder who is on the list, right? Mr. Pagula has to get an invite to the wedding, I would think.
Does he?
He signs the checks.
Yeah. And? I don't know.
Brandon Bean. Sean?
Bean, I could say, well, God, you know what? I really don't know. I mean, I think that's a personal choice. I want this wedding to be the people that are closest to me, which may or may not be the people I work with.
I mean, you're like, as far as teammates, boy, that's a tough one too. Where do you draw the line? Like, sorry, you didn't make the cut.
I look back at my wedding, and if I look at who was in attendance, who we invited, and who actually showed up, I invited a lot of people from work, and a lot of those people are no longer in my life for one reason for one reason or another. In that moment, maybe they had some significance, but for one reason or another, they're no longer in my life. And I just look back and I'm like, why? I mean, it was the best day of my life, and it probably would have been just as great if we pared it down and eliminated the people that we worked with and really truly focused on the people that matter the most in our life.
Well, again, I'm generalizing, but I think when you and I got married, the big wedding was kind of the thing, and now it's I know this.
Nobody's getting married anymore.
Nobody's getting married, but you're not having it at the big old party house or anything.
Nobody's getting married. Nobody's having kids. Nobody's going out and having a good time and meeting anybody anymore. Everything's changed.
It wasn't like destination weddings weren't a thing back then.
Back in our day, we used to have Charleston contests, and the winner would win a certified loving cup. Things are so different now. I would imagine. Look, I don't know. Go get married. I'd be faking it if I were showing any interest in Josh Allen's wedding.
But you don't have to fake it, but you have to acknowledge that this is actually a story that people, once the photos come out, they're going to eat this up. Mm-hmm. Bills fans are going to just be like, "Whoa, this is different."
Mm-hmm. Would he invite Terry? Inviting Terry is probably like inviting your crazy relative that you're like, you're I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to feel great about it.
Pagula, I'm doing the cha-cha slide. Okay, everybody, do the cha-cha slide.
Right. Yeah. Let's get Terry on the floor. Make it rain, Terry. Make it rain. I don't know. Appreciate Alex giving us some time. We'll get to PJ Glasser, the host of Send It In, the BetMGM network. He's going to join us next hour. We'll get some winners from PJ. And we'll talk more about this coming up next in the sports bar as well.
That is just, to me, is a joke. What are you going to do, bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? I mean,
that's not the Steelers' way, right?
No, man, that guy needs to stay in California and go, somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there.
Chew on bark. That's Terry Bradshaw talking about Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. We'll get to that and more. We have time for your calls as well if you want to join us at 866-4FAN, 866-4326.
AM, WBEE HD2 Rochester, and streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Organized team activities continuing at One Bills Drive. Deion Dawkins on the new Protector Award.
Me having meetings with Roger and Troy and some of these other guys, like, that's what did it. But I'm honored that no matter what now, like, that's a part of my legacy.
Hey, maybe things are changing for the Rochester Red Wings. They've won 3 in a row now. They shut out Columbus today 5-0. Same 2 teams tomorrow night at Innovative Field. On the Major League scoreboard, the Rays over the Twins 5-0. Tigers hold off the Giants 4-3. Guardians break out with 3 runs late. They beat the Dodgers today 7-4. Games in progress. They go to the 9th. The White Sox leading the Mets 9-3. Red Sox and Brewers tied at 4 in the 9th. A's up on the Astros 3-2 in the 7th. Pirates with the early 1-0 lead against Arizona. Gene Battaglia, The Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Day 2 of OTA practices this week. Already in the bag.
You can't take too much from these practice situations.
You guys know me, I'm very open.
Mike Danger.
I want to break down film with McDermott in my Italian living room on the projector with, pointer and the whole thing. Yeah, that would be a scene.
In my garage mahal.
Gene Battaglia.
Do we want McDermott on our show?
Yes, Gene, yes.
It was a great season.
How do you feel about the college football playoff setup?
Aaron Rodgers.
That is just, to me, is a joke.
You're going to give spoilers to the Hallmark movie?
And it looks like we're going to have a collision course for a Thunder Pacers NBA Finals.
How the hell does somebody take a look at Tyrese Halliburton and say that guy's overrated?
The Edmonton Oilers took a 3-1 lead on the Stars in the NHL's West finale.
Josh Allen getting married.
What would my advice be for marriage?
We're broke-ass bitches here in the sports bar.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan. Rochester.
Oh, that's good. What would my advice be for marriage? You want to sit this one out, Gino? I know the executive producer listens intently.
No, I'm just go to the danger card here. Card number 1. Marriage is a continuous negotiation.
Very good. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Marriage, continuous negotiations. And if you need the paperwork for the electric chair, I have it in my file cabinet over there. Sign up now. Good luck out there, Josh. Good luck, pal. Life as you know it is about to change.
But they're on the same level. I give them a shot, meaning she's got fame, he's got fame. They've both got their challenges. She's going to be doing a movie. He's got football season. Question is, does she show up at Fisher this year? I'm saying no.
I'm going with yes. I'm saying there's an appearance. Hard Knocks. I'm saying Hard Knocks draws her out. It's not uncommon. We've seen wives and girlfriends.
Does she have anything to promote? This is the Hollywood way, right? Is there a movie coming out? Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Maybe she has something to promote on the network. Maybe she's doing some work with HBO. Maybe it's a prearranged thing where she shows up because there's specifically something to promote. Take a little heat off of Josh, off of the boys. Take a segment of Hard Knocks off the table. One less team meeting that they have to be in to film. That's the report, right? That this weekend, Josh and Haley are getting married.
It was Deion Dawkins who said May 31st, and then and everybody else is playing. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you better believe. Like, can you imagine the security there, the non-disclosure, you are not going to post anything right away. Either that, or it's just so exclusive that people already know you're not doing. Like, there's not. You're getting invited to this wedding. You should know this already.
5:31. That's Saturday night, right? Saturday night, I believe so.
Yeah.
Saturday night. My buddy Joe is turning 50 Saturday night. We're gonna go to Innovative Field. He rented out part of Innovative Field for 50th birthday party. That's gonna be a good time. Let me get a verdict on this because this is a gag that I pulled on one of my buddies this weekend. And this is the kind of thing that I would imagine if the Bills haven't done it yet, that they're going to do it at some point because it feels like a kind of a trend that they would do. I've seen other teams do it. Can I get a verdict on calling your buddy and wishing them a good night? Not not to be serious, just as a gag, an unsuspecting, hey, what you doing? Just calling to wish you a good night.
You're making yourself laugh.
If I called you on a random Thursday night,
I would think you were drunk or high.
I just said, hey, what are you doing? And you'd say, I'm watching the Mets, or I'm watching, what's the show that you watch with the executive producer on Apple? Severance. I'm watching
Severance.
I'm watching Severance with the executive producer. And it's all right, man. Well, hey, look, I just wanted to call and wish you a good night. Your reaction would be like,
what? Yeah, I wouldn't be laughing. I'd be kind of confused, just like I am right now. The mind of Mike Danger.
This is the thing that's gonna. You'll see. I've seen other teams do this. I can't remember which team I saw do it. It's become like this viral trend where they just call unsuspecting teammates, and I could imagine that's the kind of shenanigans that would somebody like Deion Dawkins would pull with somebody else.
That's a little dirty. That would have been Isaiah McKenzie.
Oh,
back
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Like,
for
he
sure.
definitely would have been pranking people like
Can you
that.
imagine, if you're Josh Allen and you have Brandon Beane on speed dial and you just call up Brandon Beane?
Well, no, the prank is like, okay, like, oh, he's on a big date. Oh, wait, my buddy's, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I just was thinking about you. Like that.
I pulled it off on Saturday night. Yeah, I didn't mention this. This is a long holiday weekend. I called my buddy Tony. And my daughters have been egging me on to do this for weeks now. They're like, you got to call him and wish him a good night. It's funny. And I'm like, okay. When the time is right. And, I had to be a few cocktails in for the time to be right. And
so Tony being a Bears fan.
Yeah. Hey, bud, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just, kicking back, watching Sopranos, enjoying the holiday weekend. What's up? Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to seeing you at Joe's 50th party. Excited for that. That's going to be a lot of fun on Saturday night. And I just wanted to wish you a good night. And he said, well, thank you, good sir. I'm like, that's the appropriate response. But he also thought, I was probably intoxicated, which,
that might be infinity bottle or something.
Maybe just a little bit. Yeah. All right, Gino. So if you get a call from me at like 8:30, 9 o'clock
I'm not
at night.
picking up.
Oh,
I'm not picking up.
Boo.
No,
fun.
like if the only reason you or anybody called, we're off the air. Right? Like,
if you're listening, do this. Do because you've probably seen it. Maybe you have. Call up an unsuspecting friend without them knowing why you're calling, and just wish them a good night and get their reaction. It's comedy every time. It can't miss. Just call and wish them a good night and get their reaction, and then end it abruptly. All right, that's it. That's all I wanted to do. Goodbye. PJ Glasser, the host, is sending in on the BetMGM Network. Is going to stop by the sports bar here in about 15 minutes or so. We'll get some winners tonight in the NBA, Major League Baseball, Stanley Cup. We've got, really the end of the season here for both the NHL and the NBA. Ooh. Both of these finals series, the way they're shaping up, are, I don't know, a little bit less than desirable, I would say.
Well, you wouldn't want to watch a rematch, Edmonton, Connor McDavid. Would this be any different? I thought that Cup final was very entertaining last year, going to 7 games. Edmonton, Florida, would you expect kind of the same result?
If it was Edmonton, Florida, I guess that's not a horrible outcome.
That's the best of a lot of not great options.
That's
here.
right. Yeah, that's right.
And the NBA, I'm sorry. Like, am I going to make it appointment television to sit down and watch SGA against Halliburton? The answer is no.
Yeah, a little rough.
I do this for a living.
A little rough. PJ stops by here in just a couple few. We'll get his winners. In the NFL, we've got more fuel on the anti-Aaron Rodgers train and the anti-Aaron Rodgers fire in Pittsburgh. A lot of fans at this point are kind of embarrassed that the Steelers are doing what they're doing and waiting and kind of holding out hope that Aaron Rodgers will eventually sign with them. Terry Bradshaw had this to say on the topic.
That is just, to me, is a joke. What are you going to bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me?
That's not the Steelers' way, right?
No, man, that guy needs to stay in California and go, somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there.
That's Terry Bradshaw.
It's interesting because when we get to the actual season, Bradshaw's still going to be on the big panel with Fox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And normally you don't get big panel guys kind of taking little shots like that, but that's not Terry Bradshaw, Fox broadcaster. That's Terry Bradshaw, Pittsburgh icon. That's Terry Bradshaw, the guy who won 4 Super Bowls playing that position in Pittsburgh, and the guy who checks notes. He's won 1. If he didn't win that 1, what would we be saying about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah. I mean, he's probably still a Hall of Famer, but man, so many wasted opportunities, wasted seasons. Talking about championship players, how about Darius Slay, who just won one with Philadelphia, telling Steelers media his quote, "This is where championship football starts, OTAs. Everybody has to buy in, and this is the time to buy in." Now, that's not directed at Aaron Rodgers, but I think if you're trying to build a culture of winning, a team culture based on a foundation of trust, the shared experiences, the reps that you're getting now aren't a nothing. And yes, it's voluntary, but it's not. It does come to the detriment of the team. If he were to join the team, let's say right before training camp, he's still kind of behind everything.
Let's put it this way, and the way these guys work out, it's not like me and you and other weekend warriors, right? It's your job. You always have to be in top condition. You show up to training camp not to get in shape. I guess way back in the day that was, and you get the rare exception like Kelvin Benjamin one year showed up fat, and that was a big story. Like, wait a second, you didn't do anything this offseason? So with that being said, why wouldn't you want to work out at the team facilities? Also in the CBA, Danger, also important part is that you work out on your own. That's your right. But if you get injured, that's a you problem. You get injured at our facility, okay, then it's under the CBA. So they make it, they incentivize you, even though these are voluntary. Again, why wouldn't you be at this unless there's some big personal commitment? And if that's the case, the team is going to be totally fine with saying, okay, you go take the time off or whatever it is, and you take care of your personal business. There's really no excuse this day and age not to be at the facility come April and May.
I'm feeling good about the box wine bet. You feel that, right? You can feel me getting getting a little bit excited about the potential of winning, stealing another box of wine. How
does Aaron Rodgers, someone we can, he loves himself. He is addicted to publicity. Him not playing, how does he get his name out there? Like, he's not going to go into a darkness retreat and just crawl away and just vanish. Nobody's going to hire him to comment. Does he just start his own podcast and then...
Does he need to start his own podcast? I don't think he wants to or needs to. I think he could just go on living the way he wants to live.
No, he has this need to have his name in the headlines.
Yeah, no
so
question.
How does he go about that?
We have to do check-ins. We just have to check in on the mental health of Aaron Rodgers throughout the course of his first season retired and make sure that he's okay, that he's properly his thirst is properly quenched.
Well, that'll be kind of interesting too when the Jets go on a little losing streak or the Packers and he's out of the game. He's just going to be taking shots at everybody, right? That's what it's going to devolve into.
He's talking more about retirement than he is about playing next year. I mean, his comments about Green Bay and, when I retire, they're probably going to retire my, but what's the point of signing a one-day contract? And I won a lot of games there. Maybe they'll retire my number, blah, blah, blah. But I wish they would. Like, I feel like he's already there.
Is part of it, too? He just really wants the full court press. Really, please, Aaron, come to Pittsburgh. Please, please, please. We need you because it doesn't seem like the fan base or some of his potential future teammates are into that.
Yeah, with each passing day that he is not telling the world what he's doing, the stronger the basic Pittsburgh fans' hatred towards him is becoming. There are fans now that would rather go into the season starting with a quarterback who was once benched for Duck Hodges.
I don't think that's it at all, Danger. I think that the Steelers are leaving this storyline out there as a red herring. They want to negotiate. They're negotiating with the Falcons. Like Kirk Cousins sitting out there, and could you make the argument that Kirk Cousins coming off a horrible year, but mind you, he's coming off an Achilles injury, same as Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I think you would sign up for that. At least he would be a team guy. But, again, you want to do this sooner than later. they can't be going into the season with Mason Rudolph and a 6th-round rookie quarterback as you have this S-eating grin on your face. I thought you loved the Steelers. You're a secret Steeler lover.
Oh, I do think that Steelers are like some of my best friends are Steeler fans. And I think if I wasn't a Bears guy, I would probably gravitate towards the Steelers because of how they've always operated. But this is embarrassing. And I think that's why Steeler fans are upset and don't want Rodgers, because this is embarrassing. It tarnishes their legacy. It tarnishes their name. It makes them look incompetent. They look incompetent right now.
Well, I don't know what Rodgers is up to, but like seeing Diggs on Cardi B's boat, a lot of beautiful women around there. Oh, what is that bag?
Just whips out a bag of something that looks like what they're calling Tusi, pink cocaine. It looks like. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it certainly looks like a substance similar to that.
It's not like pink salt or something you want to use?
I don't know that that's Himalayan salt.
No.
No, I don't think the girls are getting excited about him whipping out a little baggie of Himalayan salt to season whatever appetizers are on the super yacht that they're enjoying there for Memorial Day weekend. That's the video that's going viral right now of Diggs partying with Cardi B, partying with a bunch of gold digging, video models, holding court. It's not a great look for Diggs. If you're a Bills fan worried about what he'll be in New England, this video might put you a little bit at ease. I never thought somebody could make Offset from Migos look like a saint, but here's Diggs, and Mike Vrabel was asked about it. And his comment was, it is something that we're aware of. We want to make great decisions on and off the field. Any conversations that I've had with Stefan will remain between him and I and the club. What do you think that conversation was like? Steph, what the F, man? What are you doing? Come on.
Yeah, and he'll pay any attention to that?
No, he won't.
No. And he didn't even pick up the phone. The message all to our players: we're trying to make great decisions. What they're 17?
Really, that's what it comes down to. Yes. If you're a coach, if you're a manager, sometimes you have to treat your employees, your players, you have to treat them like children, or you have to manage them like you would your own kids. I think about that. Like, if I found out that my girls were at a party and that was the kind of stuff that was going on, I'd just remind them, hey, you're a collection of your choices. Try to make good decisions. Don't be a dummy.
I don't think there are too many Bills fans that are worried about the Steph Diggs revenge game in Game 5. Like, Diggs was on the field last year when Houston won, but he's nowhere near any of the top 10 reasons why the Bills lost that game.
Agreed.
And okay, but Diggs coming back to Buffalo for the first time. Ooh, let's put this in prime time. Ta-da! On ESPN, or it's on the Sunday night game, actually. To me, it's like, If anything, you're gonna sit up a little straighter, and I would expect the Bills to win that game.
Let's check in with PJ Glasser, the host of Send It In on the BetMGM Network. He's going to stop by next. We'll get his thoughts on the NBA and NHL postseason. Some action on Major League Baseball tonight. We've got golf to talk about with PJ for this weekend. We're going to get you some winners, make some money with PJ Glasser from Send It In on the BetMGM Network next on the Fan Rochester.
OTAs continuing for the Buffalo Bills defensive end Greg Rousseau putting in the work.
It's cool to be back. It's been a minute since we've been on the field with helmets on and stuff and in like a competitive mindset. So, I mean, it's fun to be back, you know? Everybody brings their own style to the way they play, so to have new faces that are going to help us out, it's been exciting because everybody kind of, like I said, carries a different skill set.
Break up the Rochester Red Wings. They've now won 3 in a row. Winning over Columbus today, 5-0. Same two teams tomorrow night at Innovative Field. On the Major League scoreboard, the Mets down to their last strikes here, trailing the White Sox by a 9-4 score. Finals from today, the Guardians scored 5 in the 8th to take a 7-4 win over the Dodgers. Boston and Milwaukee tied at 5. They go to the 10th. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan, Rochester.
Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Joined now by the host of Send It In, Odyssey Sports Betting Insider PJ Glasser. Insider calls presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. PJ, it was a fun run while it lasted. The NBA season, I think, officially ended for us last night with the Knicks falling 3-1. And now we have a potentially Pacers-OKC final to look forward to. I mean, bright side, and this is why we have you on, let's make some money. Let's make these games these matchups that maybe aren't ideal for viewers, let's make them profitable at minimum. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good, guys. Pacers last night go up 3-1, look really good against the Knicks. I mean, Halliburton was tremendous, guys, a triple-double. I tend to think, though, you guys, that the Knicks are going to come back tomorrow. They're going to win Game 5. I think they're going to win Game 6 back in Indiana. I think we're getting 7 games still. Wow. But then I think the Pacers win Game 7 back in New York. So I don't think this series is quite yet over. The Pacers certainly look like the better team. I think they are the better team. And like I said, I still think they win the series. But, I mean, so many of these games have been decided by 6 points or less, right? They've been close. Last night's game was another close one in the fourth quarter as well. So I think the Knicks, they come back home tomorrow, they win. I like them in Game 6 as well. So I still think we get the full 7-game series. But, man, was Indiana good last night. And Halliburton and Siakam continue to be really, really good for Indiana.
Yeah, and if it's not tonight, we all expect OKC. They're up 3-1, and it's tough for teams. It's only happened 13 times in NBA history, teams rallying from down 3-1. But if we're looking at the NBA Finals ahead, whether it's a team, whether it's the NBA Finals MVP, is there anything to be said with any future bets that you may like here, PJ?
It's tough, Gene, just because I really like OKC at this point. I mean, like Danger just said, right, we pretty much know it's going to be OKC, Indiana at this point, so you kind of start targeting those guys. If you like Indiana, I think Finals MVP becomes a little bit more interesting just because even though that we know Halliburton's the leader, I mean, you just see it every given night, right? Like it could be Siakam, it could be Turner, it could be Nesmith. I mean, Matherin off the bench gives them great minutes. So I think for Indiana, like if they win it, it becomes more interesting. But if it's OKC, you guys, it's tough for me to see them not giving it to anybody but SGA, even though Chet and Jalen Williams can chip in with some high-scoring outputs at time. I mean, SGA is consistently giving you 30, and just feel like it's his year, wins MVP. Now his team's big favorites to win the finals MVP. So I'm having a tough time really betting anything in the futures market, just with OKC being so dominant and with them looking like they're going to win it. And if they win it, it's probably going to be SGA wins finals MVP.
All right, so let's talk about tonight's matchup where OKC can clinch the series at home, hosting Minnesota. Any specific plays from tonight's game that you like, PJ?
So I actually think we might get a Game 6, you guys. I like Minnesota plus the points tonight. I like them on the money line as well. Now, OKC, they're like a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball with their home-road splits, right? Where we see some of these guys have like a sub-2 ERA at home. They go on the road, and it's like a 6.5 ERA. That's Oklahoma City, fellas. They're 0-7 ATS on the road in the postseason. They've been terrific at home. The problem is Minnesota's also been pretty good on the road against the number the last couple of years in the NBA playoffs. So even though OKC went 2-0 against them straight up against the spread in the first 2 games, I've loved betting these spots with Minnesota the last couple of years, guys, when it just kind of feels like when they go into a game, right, everybody likes the other side. They kind of think Minnesota's going to lose. They kind of feel like the series over, whatever it may be. That's when I like betting Minnesota. So even though OKC has been so good at home, I think those two games in Minneapolis, the Wolves figured out some things. I think especially offensively, because we saw some high-scoring outputs from them in both of those games. So I think Minnesota is really going to play well tonight. I certainly like them plus the points, but I think the money line plus 280, I think that's worth a bet as well. So I'm on Minnesota.
PJ Glass, your host, is Send It In, and hockey's no different here, PJ. And I noticed you were following along with Edmonton Dallas last night, and your thoughts here on is there anything worthwhile looking at? Again, two series that have two teams that are up 3-1. Florida could advance tonight over Carolina. It could be Edmonton advancing tomorrow night over Dallas.
Yeah, that Dallas game last night, Gene, I'm still licking my wounds from that one. That was tough, losing that game. But I think we're going to bounce back tonight. I'm taking Carolina as well. You know, just another game where, for me, it's really about the price also. First two games of the series, Carolina minus 125, minus 120 favorite at home. Now, certainly you have to adjust, right? Because at this point, we know Florida's the better team. They're the defending Cup champions. But I think at best this game should be a pick'em, or even Carolina like minus 115 or minus 105, excuse me. I think the fact we're getting them at minus 115, any price you can get with Carolina as an underdog, I think is good value. Before this series, guys, they were undefeated at home in the postseason. Under Brindamore, they've been a really good home team in the playoffs. So I think they're going to get one tonight at home. You know, they finally have some momentum, some confidence winning in Florida, playing a Carolina Hurricane type game, low scoring, grinding down their opponents. So I think they win again tonight. I think we go back to Florida for Game 6 and they take care of business at home. But I like the Canes again tonight, fellas. I'd look at them on the money line.
PJ Glasser, Send It In on the BetMGM Network, joining us now in the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia on the Fan Rochester. Lots of Major League Baseball action happening this afternoon, getaway day. What about tonight's action, PJ? Is there anything that you have specifically from tonight's action on the diamond?
Well, you got to bet Machado props tonight, fellas. Our boy Manny Machado going up against the Marlins. So, you know, Sandy Alcantara a couple years ago, right? One of the best pitchers in baseball, won Cy Young, and then he has the injury. Guys, he's got an 8.04 ERA this season. Jeez. He has been getting rocked. And you look at Manny's career against Sandy, he's 6 for 9 in his career against them. And that's when he was going up against NL Cy Young Sandy. So now he faces kind of the worst version of him. And obviously with the season that Machado's putting together, I would look at him tonight. Total bases, home runs, props, all those kinds of things. And then I also like the left-hander Kikuchi under outs recorded tonight, 17.5 for the Angels. The Yankees have been one of the best teams in baseball against left-handed pitching, and they faced the lefty last night in Tyler Anderson, and he was fortunate to go over the 17.5. So I think that's a great night for the Yankees. They're seeing their second straight-handed pitcher. They've dominated lefties all season. And, you know, Kikuchi's been up and down this year, but I think that's a bad matchup for him tonight. Spent some time in the AL East with the Blue Jays, right? So the Yankees know him pretty well. Those are my two plays, guys, some player props. I like Machado, pretty much anything you can find, but especially the total bases. And then Kikuchi under 17.5 outs recorded.
Yeah, and PJ, before we get your thoughts on the Memorial and some of the things that we can look forward to this weekend here, you've been also kind of doing other things on the BetMGM Network. You were on BetMGM tonight with our guy Horvat, and talking about college football futures here, over-unders, win totals in the SEC, and I think it's the fun time of year. I don't know necessarily if I'm running out unless it's such a great value at this point, but what are some things that we can kind of deduct right now who might be good, who might not be, who does Vegas kind of not value as much? Is there anything to be said for win totals right now in college football?
So, yeah, Gene, last night we were talking about my team. We were talking about Alabama, and their win total right now is at 9.5. I think right now, if people out there, if they want to tie their money down to a college football future and they want to bet a team to win a national championship, I actually think Bama has the best value at 15-1. I think their team on paper, they might have the second or third best roster in the sport. Their secondary is going to be terrific. It's going to be like as good as Texas's was last season, and we saw they had a couple first-rounders on that side of the ball. They have Ryan Williams that everybody remembers making that play against Georgia. He's now a sophomore. It's really all going to come down to the quarterback position with Ty Simpson. And I kind of see Ty as like a Mac Jones type, right? A guy that's been in the program a while, kind of had to sit, wait his turn, and he's got all these great skill guys around him where he just has to be a point guard this year at quarterback. He doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. He's just got to be solid. I think the Jalen Milroe pairing with DeBoer last year just wasn't a good one. I think DeBoer's got his quarterback back, and more importantly, he's got his OC back in Ryan Grubb, who he had so much success with the Washington Huskies. Grubb took the job with the Seahawks last year, but now he's back with DeBoer with Alabama. So I think having his OC back as well is going to be massive. So I like Bama. We talked about them yesterday, Gene. I like their over 9.5 wins. I would look at them to win the national title. And then I had Chase Kitty on my show today, and he threw out Akron under 4.5 wins. And I love the play because, guys, if you go through their schedule, they really don't have a bye week. We all love Maction football on Tuesday nights, right? We get Buffalo in your neck of the woods. And Akron, just the way their schedule is, they play one of their like Saturday to Tuesdays, and it's like a 9-day layoff, but it's really just like, normal rest. So I think Akron, they won 4 games last year, and with how bad their schedule is and not really having a bye week, I think under 4.5 on the Zips is another good look as well.
All right, let's talk about value on the Lynx this week in the Memorial. And when we see Scotty Scheffler's out there, I imagine that right away, okay, well, that's probably somebody we're going to be talking about. He's just been so good for an extended amount of time here. Is that who you're riding with going into this weekend, PJ?
Yeah, Danger. I mean, riding with Scotty Scheffler every week is a good move, right? Especially when Rory's not playing this week. Rory would have been the guy that I really would have liked because just the way that he's playing, and I think how this course sets up, it would have been a good fit for him. Scotty, I really think is going to win it, you guys. So if people are going to place outrights this week, I would look at the without Scheffler market. If you're not going to look at Scotty, the key metric this week, this is one of the toughest courses they play all year, majors included. This is Jack's tournament, Danger, like you said, and it's a difficult one. This was the toughest event last year, guys. When guys hit it into the rough, it's the toughest course to hit greens in regulation. Only 22% last year of the golfers were able to hit greens when they hit the ball in the rough on their tee shots, right? So I'm looking for driving accuracy off the tee this week. If you can't put it in the fairway off the tee, you are really going to struggle. So Aaron Rye is a guy at 50-1. I would look at him, top 20, top 10. Maybe take a long shot on him to win. He's number 1 right now on the PGA Tour in driving accuracy and hitting fairways. I think he's a decent play. Xander Schauffele is just, I think right now outside of Scotty, he's just got the best overall game of any golfer. And this course this week tests all your game. He's got 5 top 20 finishes in his last 6 events here. So I think he could be a good play. Denny McCarthy, who's down the board at 55-1, could be another good guy to look at. 2 top 5 finishes here in the last 3 years. And Denny has talked about this course in the past, guys. He loves it. The tougher the course, the more he enjoys it. He likes the U.S. Open type conditions. So McCarthy, Aaron Rye, Xander Schauffele, all guys that I'm looking at this week, all guys that I think can hang. Corey Connors, I think, is another good guy, just an accurate golfer, great ball striker, good off the tee. So those are probably the 4 that I would look at. If I had to pick a guy to win, I probably would take Scotty. And then if you're looking at him, the without market, I think Xander, Aaron Rye, 2 guys that I would bet as well.
PJ, a quick story here. When we got legalized wagering on sports here in New York State, I remember it was it was around January, right around football playoff time, and one of our guys, who I do not recommend his advice, we call him Terrible Time Timmy or Terrible Take Timmy because he always has bad luck, and the way he tells the story, and he was all boastful, he was putting on social media, he was so big up one night betting college basketball, and then he gave it all back, staying up late, watching Australian Open tennis overnight. Maybe that was because who knows anything about tennis. And, PJ, we do have another major. That's my segue here. We've got the French Open coming up here, and we're going to follow along locally because we've got Jessica Pegula still alive in this. Is any plays here, anything to be said about betting the sport of tennis?
So when it comes to tennis, Gene, I'm certainly not as well versed in that as the other sports. I will tell you, I've had plenty of people on my show talking about the French Open, so I feel like I have kind of a good enough pulse where I could tell people that on the men's draw, it's probably going to be Sinner or Alcaraz. You know, I know everybody wants to go down the board and like try and find a nice long shot. It's probably going to be one of those two. We saw Nadal, obviously, was a Spaniard, the king of clay, dominate at the French Open for all those years. Alcaraz, another Spaniard, and he kind of looks like he's on that trajectory where he's going to be really tough to beat. So I would look at Sinner or Alcaraz on the men's side. It's probably going to be one of those two. On the women's side, it's really interesting. You got four women who really could win it. I mean, you got Iga, who's won 4 of the last 5. You got Coco Gauff, who certainly could. Andreeva's very good, and then the number 1 in the world, Sabalenka, as well. So I'm going with Iga. Until somebody beats her on clay, I got to take her. She's still plus 300. But, yeah, I mean, you could make a case for any of them. Coco's playing really good. But, again, I mean, being an American, it's just tough for the Americans to beat some of these Europeans on the clay surface. So Iga's from Poland. She's been one of the best women's tennis players in the world for the last, 5 years. As I mentioned, she's won 4 of the last 5 French Opens. So, Gene, if I were giving you bets for the French Open, it'd be the chalk, my friend. It'd be Alcaraz, and it would be Iga, the two I would look at.
PJ, help us break ties here in the sports bar, because it's been a topic that we've been discussing for most of the offseason here in the NFL. And with OTAs happening and teams getting back to practice and media covering those teams, this has kind of been thrust back upon us. Is Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season, yes or no?
It's a great question. I'm going to say yes. I say 65% yes, 35% he retires.
Okay.
I don't know about you guys. I don't think they're going into the season with Mason Rudolph. How do you sell that to your team? How do you sell that to your defense, right? With all those veterans like Minka, TJ Watt, these guys want to win Super Bowls. They don't want to go out there week 1 with Mason Rudolph. So
how do you how do you sell it to a team when you're there at OTAs practicing and your quarterback isn't there? He has nothing really to do with anything going on this offseason.
Also a good question, Danger, and I'm glad I'm not. As a Ravens fan, I personally love it. So either they hate Rodgers when he walks in, or they go with Rudolph. But it's totally a fair question. I just think, I think more so than I think most people that he's actually going to retire. I still think there's a better chance he's going to be the Steelers quarterback, but it's a good question. I mean, the more days that go by, right, as we get here into the off season and we approach training camp as it gets closer and closer in the preseason, I mean, obviously those players got to wonder, if we're going to sign Rodgers, we better do it pretty quick. So, Danger, it sounds like you don't think he's going to be a Steeler, and Gene thinks that he is going to be one.
We have a box wine bet. We bet Gene's beverage of choice, box of wine, and I've got a pretty good record against my co-host over here, and I know he thought I was crazy when I said, you know what, I don't see Rodgers doing this. I don't see the Steelers. More so, I don't see the Steelers paying Rodgers the $10 million that he wants, and therefore I don't think he signs with the Steelers. I think they're arrogant enough to go into the season with a guy who got benched for Duck Hodges as their week 1 starter.
It's crazy. I mean, look, it could happen. I've been telling people, too, if you think Rodgers is going to play for the Steelers, I think the bet to make is for them to win the division, not necessarily because I think it's going to happen, but just from a value standpoint, it's plus 600 right now for Pittsburgh to win the AFC North. If they sign Rodgers, I mean, that's going to drop to plus 350, you guys, maybe even plus 300. That's going to drop in half. So there's one thing I know about the AFC North. It's when you think you know something, the opposite happens. And even though the Ravens are the favorite, they should be. Cincinnati, especially, they get the defense figured out. They're going to be in the mix as well. But, I mean, look, Pittsburgh, Tomlin, as we know, just has a knack of winning 9, 10, 11 games every single year. And if he gets Rodgers, that price is going to drop and crazier things have happened. So,
we'll Pete, see. Deep pull here because, we have Terry Bradshaw on the news. And actually, since Bradshaw, there's been only 2 guys that have quarterbacked the Pittsburgh Steelers to a Super Bowl, one being Ben Roethlisberger and the other from the 90s, who He signed with. He was against the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
Oh, Gene, I know it's just a good last name. I'm so sorry. I was born in '96, so it might be before my time.
It was the year before you were born. It was Neil O'Donnell.
Oh, Neil O'Donnell. Is that Rosie's brother or her cousin or something?
You got to know your audience, Gino. I mean, I didn't want to push Arancha Sanchez Vicario at PJ when we were talking French Open. Come on.
I thought we were going, when Gene was going French Open, I thought we were going Victoria Ostapenko. Would have been a good one.
Oh, we could just call her Coco, too. We don't have to mention her last name.
Coco would have been good as well. Oh, Neil O'Donnell. All right, I'll have to keep that one in the chamber, fellas. That was a good one. Gene, I apologize. I did not. That was not my Steelers.
You don't have to apologize for being young when you have to talk to us old farts every week, challenging you with things you don't even know. You weren't born for.
Oh, so good. So good.
Oh, my gosh, PJ, I'm in tears.
All
Thanks,
right,
buddy.
PJ, man, thanks for the time. We'll be checking out, send it out on the BetMGM network. Let's do it again.
Love it, fellas. Talk to you next week.
There he is. That's our buddy PJ Glasser. Yeah, he's in Baltimore. He's a Ravens guy, but he does great work there on the BetMGM network. Send it in. Odyssey Sports Betting Insider and Insider Calls presented by BetMGM. Go check out all the latest lines today on the BetMGM app.
That was too deep a pull.
Well, I just think that we, I think, take for granted a couple things. One, how old we are, how young PJ is. Like, PJ's not that. He's kind of still fresh out of college. Like, he's young and he's got a real long, bright future in front of him.
That would be like somebody quizzing us on 1960s quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Correct.
Right? Be like,
I wasn't born. I don't remember.
Well, the thing about Neil O'Donnell was he was okay, had a terrible Super Bowl, and then the Jets were like, here, take all this money.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
Left. Yeah. The Steelers have not really handled the most important position in all of sports very well since the retirement of Ben Roethlisberger. And you're hearing like they're catching some strays from guys like Kenny Pickett, who's, being quoted about his time in Philadelphia. I learned how to do things the right way. Oh, that's an indirect shot at Mike Tomlin and at the Steelers. He has no love for that team. I almost wish that Kenny Pickett would get the start for Cleveland against the two times that they have to play the Steelers. That would be a fun little revenge narrative there. PJ Glasser, send it in, joining us every Wednesday here in the Sports Bar to get you some winners. And we're looking forward to tonight's action in both the NBA and the NHL as well.
Yeah, and if you're new to the show, yes, we do that every time with PJ because why? It's funny. And we know it's not our bit, and we totally, it's
you know what? Van Pelt, being a Baltimorean, and getting Kirkshin to laugh hysterically. I have friends in Baltimore, and when they break out their accent, I crack up. I can't help it. It's almost like a game for them in Baltimore.
Well, it was like this didn't start. It started off organically. It was the Women's World Cup, and it was in New Zealand. It was at all these odd times, and we thought we were going to roll. We didn't. And the captain was Megan Rapinoe, and the way he said it, like, what?
Yeah.
Who?
It's Baltimoreese. Yeah. Who used to play tennis, female tennis player? Oh, yeah, Arancha Sanchez Vicario.
See, that accent's lovely. Ours, nobody could do that. I'm like, yeah.
Arancha Sanchez Vicario? Where's she from? She's from Spain like John Ram?
Neil O'Donnell. Why would those guys even think that PJ Glasser would know Neil O'Donnell?
Yeah, cuz, why would they think that? Hey, I got an idea. Let's go get some hamburgers and hots over there at Bill Gray's.
Oh, you like Bill Gray's?
Yeah, I like Bill Gray's.
I like Bill Gray's, too. We can get some frozen custard.
From Abbott's.
Abbott's. And then we'll go take our kids to the Bills game.
Come on, hit the music, buddy.
We'll go see the Amerks.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to go up to Buffalo, and I'm going to go get some hot wings and blue cheese. And then after that, I'm going to take my kids to the Bills game.
Is that true? Somebody did that as a wedding song?
Den after dat.
Den after dat.
Den after dat. Oh, it's music to my ears. Happy Hour is next. We have time for your calls. 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326.
9BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
Another day of work in the books for the Buffalo Bills. OTAs, organized team activities. Deion Dawkins talking about being involved in the new Protector Award.
Me having meetings with Roger and Troy and some of these other guys, like, that's what did it. But I'm honored that no matter what now, like, that's a part of my legacy.
Rochester Red Wings have now won 3 in a row. They shut out Columbus today, 5-0. Same two teams tomorrow night at Innovative Field. On the Major League scoreboard, not a good loss for the Mets. They fall to the White Sox 9-4. Dodgers give up 5 in the 8th. They lose to the Guardians 7-4. Detroit over San Francisco 4-3. In 10 innings, the Red Sox fall in Milwaukee by a 6-5 score. Pittsburgh's up on Arizona 3-0 in the 5th. Padres up on the Miami Marlins 3-1 in the 4th. Gene Battaglia, The Fan, Rochester.
Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Day 2 of OTA practices this week. Already in the bag.
You can't take too much from these practice situations.
You guys know me, I'm very open.
Mike Danger.
I want to break down film with McDermott in my Italian living room on the projector with, Pointer and the whole thing. Yeah, that would be a scene.
In my garage mahal.
Gene Battaglia.
Do we want McDermott on our show?
Yes, Gene, yes.
It was a great season.
How do you feel about the college football playoff setup?
Aaron Rodgers.
That is just, to me, is a joke.
You're going to give spoilers to the Hallmark movie?
And it looks like we're going to have a collision course for a Thunder Pacers NBA Finals.
How the hell does somebody take a look at Tyrese Halliburton and say that guy's overrated?
The Edmonton Oilers took a 3-1 lead on the Stars in the NHL's West finale.
Josh Allen getting married.
What would my advice be for marriage?
We're broke-ass bitches here in the sports bar.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Happy hour in the sports bar. It's Danger and Battaglia. Thanks for listening at 95.7 FM, AM 950. Make it as part of your routine on the way home, listening in the free-to-download Odyssey app, or later tonight, just checking out our YouTube channel, going back and checking out any of the show that you may have missed. The Fan Rochester on YouTube. We're also on X. I'm at AKA Mike Danger. He's at Gene Battaglia. We're at The Fan Rochester. A user known only as Suburban Gorilla. Stop knocking Duck Hodges. Dude managed to land Lainey Wilson. Show some respect. Now, again, I think there's a theme to this show today, the age gap, the divide. I don't know who Lainey Wilson is, Suburban Gorilla. I thought when I saw Lainey Wilson, my initial thought was, is that one of the girls from Wilson Phillips? Is that the daughter of one of the Wilson is there a connection to the Beach Boys? Who's Lainey Wilson?
Lainey Wilson is an award-winning American country singer, songwriter, and actress.
Ah, that would be why.
She's 33.
And Duck Hodges,
yeah.
She's attractive, and Duck Hodges is engaged to Lainey Wilson. So there you go. I'll try to show some respect and put some respect on his name. I know I keep saying that the Steelers are running the risk of starting their season with the guy who once got benched for Duck Hodges as their Week 1 starter, but that remains to be seen.
Do we? It's funny. Like we have the monitors on here, and now that Around the Horn is off, ESPN's just doing a regular old Sports Center here in this segment. And hey, we'll go to Oklahoma City, and then they go to Oklahoma, and Danger's like, that's it.
Yeah, the skyline of Oklahoma City is not very impressive. And look, I'm not saying this like we're better than they are or whatever, but like when I see a skyline, I get inspired. I love looking at city skylines and being like, wow, that's impressive. Like Dallas has a great skyline. Chicago has a great skyline. Of course, New York City is New York City. But just see Oklahoma City skyline. I'm like, wow, what?
So two things about Oklahoma City. One, just the quick, and it's not going back that far, but how did they get the Thunder in the first place? Well, the Seattle Sonics were having an arena dispute. They were out in Tacoma for a few years, and KeyBank was below standards, and the team was, it was up for sale, and it was just a rich oil guy. I said, okay, you know what? I love my hometown. I'm going to go. That should have been blocked by David Stern, except he didn't have any nuts. He made a false promise that, hey, you're going to get a team anyways. Well, it's 2025, still waiting there. But, hey, they support the team in Oklahoma City. That's fine. And then you didn't know about this. Look up Legends Tower. This sounds like a Simpsons episode where we're going to build something and make it be known. You mentioned how Oklahoma City, okay, really don't have a skyline. Well, maybe that's going to change because they're in the final steps here of approving what will be America's tallest building at 135 stories.
Ooh.
Just sitting in downtown Oklahoma City. Why? How they're going to fill it, I don't know. It's a metro population that's not much bigger than Rochester, Danger. 135 stories.
I mean, what could go wrong? Hey,
a tornado.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, right. You know what they need in Oklahoma City to go with their really tall building? If they only had a boat that could get them across large bodies of water very, very fast, I'm sure that would be appreciated. I'm sorry, no, they're in the middle of nowhere.
What was the? Oh, I know. Wasn't The Simpsons like a monorail? Didn't they do that? Like the monorail would solve everything? Yeah.
Right.
It also was a boat.
If only we had that. Yeah. Well, look, Oklahoma City's probably going to close out that series. If not tonight, at some point here. I mean, 3-1 is it's not the kiss of death that 3-0 is in the NBA, but 3-1 is a tough one.
Okay. I have the answer in my head. If you let me to write it down, I will do that. But on the honor system, Danger, we have 4 series that have 3-1 deficits. Of the 4 teams that are down right now, which one is the most likely to rebound and reach the finals? Again, your choices here: Carolina, Dallas, you have the Knicks, and you have Minnesota.
I'm going with Dallas.
Correct.
The Dallas Stars.
Yeah, the way they fell they've fallen apart big time in a few of these games. Now they're going back home.
Zach Hyman being out. I mean, if I'm Connor McDavid and I'm the captain of this team, I'm rallying the guys for Hyman. I'm saying let's go out there and everybody. The guy had over 100 hits this postseason. I mean, he was just playing possessed. We know what he can do as a goal scorer as well. And now, knowing that he's not going to be out there for the remainder of the postseason with wrist surgery, I would say go out there and get one for Zach. Make that a rallying cry. But even with that being said, the Stars, I believe, have the most talent as a team to claw back into a 3-1, claw out of a 3-1 hole. I want to say the Knicks. Feels rough. I mean, you just kind of see through this course of this series, okay, Indiana's a better team. And honestly, like Boston might have been the better team too.
Well, yeah, hit a shot there, or maybe drive to the basket. Seemed like that was just the coaching thing with Boston, if nothing else. I listen to PJ Glasser. I'm like, he thinks that's going to go to 7. Still thinks Indiana's going to win this series.
It would be fun. I mean, make it fun, make it interesting for us because I'm kind of down. I'm kind of down on the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm kind of down on the NBA playoffs right now.
I did watch wire to wire the Knicks game last night, and although it didn't go the Knicks' way, it's good basketball.
Yeah.
I can't complain. I mean, like, guys are hitting shots. They're making plays. The thing in basketball I can't stand, who introduced the stupid challenge system? It's just too slow. It's like, okay, can we keep this moving?
It was really bad in the March tournament, in the NCAA tournament. It's just like, oh, my God, can we please find a way to get this going? Because there's already too many stoppages down the stretch. Whether you're talking about the first half, the second half in college, I just want it. Let's get it going. Let's go, boys. Pick up the pace. So we have a couple of potential series clinching games tonight. Oklahoma City being one of them, and then of course Florida can dispatch of the Carolina Hurricanes. But yeah, if you listen to PJ Glasser last hour here in the sports bar, he has Minnesota tonight, and he likes Carolina tonight as well at home. And if Carolina can play their brand, that low-scoring kind of hockey, grind out another win at home against the Panthers, against the defending Cup champs, maybe we have a couple of series to deal with here. But, boy, 3-1 across the board in all of these series feels a little bit bleak, and especially in the NBA when you look at the prospect of an OKC-Indiana final. Ugh, nobody's signing up for that.
Can you settle an argument I'm having with some other Met fans here?
I would. Oh, good.
Okay,
You're
so
inviting me into the Misfit Club.
No. Yeah. So this is. The Misfit
Wait,
Club.
and the music has to play first, Gino.
The Mets laid down today against the White Sox 9-4. Now, Gene, there's 162 games of these. You can't win them all. Okay. Did I tell you again it was against the White Sox? The team that set the record for futility last season? Oh, but they're better this year. Okay, so this starts with some rando, okay? If you win every series in a season and you never sweep a team, you're still winning 108 games. Sweeps are not the goal. Jackson Roberts, who used to do TV, now he's just like a Met fan. Louder for the folks in the back. Now, sidebar. Don't write that. Don't write louder in the folks for the back. Don't write this with arrows pointing at me.
Mets drop series finale to White Sox.
Yeah, no,
my column.
Yeah, no, not against the White Sox. Sorry. A missed opportunity, sure, but far from a failure. And I tweeted him back, Giannis. Dan DeLorean was the same way when he came in today.
That was his first day.
Yeah.
I said, no, you can't lose to the White Sox, Dan. It was like, oh, we're going the series.
That doesn't matter. When it's yes, 9 times out of 10, you're fine. You can't lose to the White Sox on Getaway Wednesday. I'm sorry. Looked like you just wanted to get to dinner tonight.
Colorado next?
Yeah, this was the bye week.
Are we going to celebrate if you win a series against Colorado?
No.
You're only going to celebrate if you sweep the Rockies.
There's no cookie here whatsoever. I'm not celebrating anything.
The
it's
9-win, the 9-win Rockies. Can you sweep the 9-win Rockies?
9 times.
I kind of agree. I think that you don't get a cookie for winning a series against the White Sox. You should sweep the White Sox. You should sweep the Rockies. I know that it's a long season, but so that's a cope is what that is. You're coping.
You're coping.
You're coping with the fact that your team is good, but not good enough to sweep the White Sox. That's a cope. You should sweep the White Sox. You're the Mets. You're a good team this year. You're going to be in the postseason if all things go the way they look like they're going. Sweep the White Sox. Don't give up a game to the White Sox. And certainly sweep the 9-win Colorado Rockies.
Well, it's one of those where if the Phillies win the division by 1 game, it could be like, oh, yeah, that game back on March 26th when I'm arguing people that matter.
But that's the thing. Like, is the goal to sweep every series? No, the goal is not to sweep every series. The goal is to win every game. You're trying to win every game. Don't lay down ever for anybody. So if that was truly today was truly like we're going to lay down. I mean, they didn't lay down. They had some fight, but still don't lose to the White Sox. I'm with you, Gino. This is when you and I agree on. Okay. I was kind of surprised when Dan DeLorean said, "Whoa, we won the series." I'm like, you want a cookie for winning a series against the White Sox? Sweep those losers.
No. Winning a series against the Dodgers, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that felt accomplished. You know what this feels like? Oh, we beat the Dodgers. We're really good. Yeah. 2 or 3. I'm sorry. This feels like a bigger loss than anything.
Yeah. Well, it was a weird situation in the first place because you were supposed to play them tonight, but they moved everything up, and you're playing them this afternoon.
Nobody's there.
Nobody's
it's raining in New York. I'm like, really? This is a major league game, and they want to just get it in.
What did was it Skip Carey that first coined the phrase partial sellout?
Yeah.
Partial sellout is my favorite. See, just a smattering of fans that didn't really know that the game was moved, or most of the fans not knowing that their 7 o'clock ticket was still probably good for the 1 o'clock game, but we can't make it. We got other things going on. Sorry, Gino. I'm with you on this one.
Okay.
I'm with you on this one. This is normally where I would part ways and say, like, you know what, you guys just figure it out. But that's the White Sox. You don't get a cookie for winning a series against the White Sox.
No, and if we come back on Monday and the Mets lose a game to the Rockies,
you're going to be upset about that. As I believe you should be. You shouldn't lose a game to the Rockies. I think the Cubs did lose a game to the Rockies, if I'm not mistaken, the series or earlier in the series. I got to look back, but I'm like, that's my thought going into it as well. They're playing the Rockies tonight. I'm like, you're not losing the Rockies. You're not giving them their. At this point of the season, the Rockies are looking to get to double-digit wins. I don't want to be the team that gets them to double-digit wins. No, we want them to be as bad as humanly possible. Break all records. Continue to lose, boys. We want greatness. What else do we got going on this afternoon in the sports bar?
I think your headline story, if you're just getting into your car, it's a boat. It's a boat with an actress or singer or whatever you want to call her, and a lot of her friends.
This is the Diggs story.
Yeah.
Cardi B and Diggs are a thing, right? So we saw them courtside at a Knicks game, the Met Gala. I think they were both at the Met Gala together, or they were both at the Met. Diggs likes going to that thing. Cardi B is always a presence there. What?
Oh, I'm just rubbing my beard. Go on.
What do you mean? What did I say wrong?
No. I just...
What did I miss? Oh, God. I'm such an airhead. I'm sorry, Gino.
For our viewers, I was just rubbing. I'm growing facial hair. I was rubbing. You're talking about Cardi B. I was just rubbing my beard, but go on.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy that. Anyways, not to get off track. If you're a Bills fan and you're worried that Diggs is going to be a problem this year, hey, look, I think Diggs will probably be fine. I don't want to overblow him not being at OTAs, but the idea that he's enjoying Memorial Day weekend on a yacht with his rapper friend, Cardi B, and a lot of gold-digging video models holding court and flashing a baggie of, I mean, it looks like a substance. It looks like drugs. I'm not saying that's what it is. It's definitely not pink Himalayan salt. It's not.
No, that helps your metabolism, I hear. No,
their reaction to it was not the same. Well, now you've got a clip that's going viral because Diggs is basically showing all of these girls, I got a bag of the good stuff.
Is Mike Vrabel more upset about the bag or upset about the fact that he's not at OTAs answering questions that, hey, one of his guys is just making it be known he's on vacation right now?
Yeah, I think if you're Vrabel, if you're the Patriots, you kind of know what you're signing up for when you sign Diggs, right? Like, Diggs was a Boy Scout for the majority of his time in Buffalo, and then he wasn't. And then he was a distraction, and then the coach and he didn't see eye to eye, and then you would assume there was some sort of a divide in the locker room, and then he's gone.
This is the weird part of the NFL calendar, meaning, okay, teams don't have jurisdiction over their players. The fact that they can't even call this practice. That's what it is. But we can't call it practice because it's not in the CBA. We're just having team activities, organized team activities, everybody. Come on. The thing that would rub me the wrong way is Diggs is coming off a major injury. Like, this is the time where you got to put in the rehab. And who's to say he didn't? But the fact that he's not at the team facility doing those things, and the fact that he's not developing chemistry with the quarterback that's only in his second year, that's what you brought him in for. This was supposed to be 2.0 for Diggs, what Diggs did for Josh Allen, and for a certain extent what he did last year for C.J. Stroud. Like, when he went down to Houston danger, he was there for all the OTAs, and he was there for everything else. And Mike Vrabel, of all the old hard-ass, old-school sort of guys, that's not a guy that's going to put up with this. Talking about, well, we need to make better decisions.
Yeah, great. We want to make great decisions on and off the field. It's something that we're aware of when asked about the Diggs video that's gone viral. That's head coach Mike Vrabel. Any conversations that I've had with Stephon will remain between him and I and the club. Do you think Stephon Diggs is picking up the phone?
What was the conversation? He didn't pick up the phone. This only went viral today.
Yeah. So there's that circus.
The thing, Vrabel didn't have to comment on this. All he had to say was no comment.
Or I haven't seen it, or I'm not aware of it.
Right.
Or this is a voluntary workout. This is, I don't know. I think what he said comes off as parental, and I think that's kind of like what he is in this role. I mean, he's got a lot of guys that are going to, every team has a lot of guys that need a little bit of parenting. It sounds basic. Make great decisions on and off the field. Is that a great decision for Stephon Diggs to be filmed whipping out a bag of what looks like Tusi? I don't know if that's a great decision.
It was Himalayan salt, Danger. It's very healthy.
I'm sure.
He's talking about metabolism. with all these models around him.
Well, those models don't like cocaine. They just like the way it smells. So that's, I mean, I guess if you're a Patriots fan and you're used to some of your players murdering people, this is just light fare.
You don't even have to say allegedly. That really happened.
Yeah.
Your star tight end thought it would be cool to become a gangster, and
yeah. Well, when your tight ends are murdering people, Diggs partying a little bit hard on a Memorial Day weekend, holiday weekend. This is easy.
To me, it just feels really like OBJ when OBJ was kind of descending there a little bit, and he's there taking the pictures with the guys down. Remember how much of a controversy that was?
Now remind me, was that before a playoff game? It was during a bye week? Was it after a playoff game?
It was before a playoff game.
So it was a bye week before Green Bay.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was before Green Bay.
Right.
And Green Bay beat them, I want to say?
That's true.
Okay.
It was before Cleveland and before every other team that.
Yeah, he was still with the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
So-
it's a bye week. You can do what you want. Or, you could say, like, hey, you're a professional. We pay you a lot of money to win football games and stay in the best shape possible. Maybe wait until the offseason to rent the boat or to take your boat out in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It is the offseason, and there is rumors, and I think we know this to be true, that this weekend Josh Allen will be getting married.
I think it's a big story because this will be eventually crossing your feed. Like, what are the odds that nothing gets out on social media? Probably not.
What do you mean, Gene? You said earlier that the people that were on Cardi B's boat should all have their phones taken away so they can't take videos.
Well, if you're going to be having Himalayan salt or something that looks like it, maybe that's not a good idea. I highly doubt at Haley Steinfeld's wedding that you'll see anything like that.
You won't see a mountain of pink cocaine as the centerpiece at each table. We won't see Terry Pagula looking like Scarface with a mountain of Tootsie on the table.
The only thing that fascinates me about this is if you're Josh Allen, you're the team leader, you're loved by your teammates. How do you navigate this? Who are you inviting? You're inviting Dawkins. You're inviting some other guys on the offensive line. Like, where do you draw the line? You can't invite the entire team. That's not. Are you inviting the owner? He signs your checks. Are you inviting Brandon Beane? You have to invite Sean McDermott.
Do you? McDermott's probably not fun at weddings.
Do you remember who was it? I remember. It was tight end, Raiders, the Giants. Was really good for a hot minute. He's out of the league now.
Oh, Evan Ingram. Not Evan Ingram. I'm sorry.
Kelsey Plum we married.
Yeah. He married the WNBA girl.
And Josh McDaniels flipped out because he didn't get invited to the wedding. Like, really? No, the answer is, like, Sean McDermott to get invited, hey, here's a card, here's a gift, I wish you well.
The reality of the situation is, what does Haley want out of her wedding? Does she give Josh free reign to invite whoever he wants? Does she have her checklist of friends? I know that's how it went with me. Like, who are we inviting? How many can I bring? Who can I say?
It's exhausting.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I would imagine it's going to be somewhat intimate. I would imagine. If you're talking about players, I'm saying Dawkins and Knox.
Knox is on this team because he's close with Allen, first and foremost.
Maybe McGovern. But McGovern feels like a late addition. Dawkins and Knox feel like they've got the most shared experiences with Allen. But you could open up the floodgates and invite all your pass catchers, right? You could say, well, bring in
Shakir.
Bring in Kincaid. Let's go. Bring in all the guys. But I don't know if that's what she's allowing. So keep it tight, keep it intimate. Who's important? Who comes in? Dawson Knox and Deion Dawkins, I think, are for sure.
Yeah, and apparently, this is according to one of the guys from Trainwreck Sports. Allen is flying out with a few teammates after tomorrow's practice.
Okay.
So, which is closed to the media, closed to the public, so we're really not going to know. But, yeah, I take the charter flight, and I think that's enough time, right? Like, I want to say I worked the Thursday before I got married, and then Friday took care of whatever business, had some people coming into town, so that seems right.
Did you do your honeymoon right after the wedding?
Yeah.
Right after the wedding.
Well, we took Sunday, and then it was Labor Day we took off, so.
Yeah. Because I think we got married right around. We're both the inconsiderate a-holes that had our wedding on a holiday weekend.
See, I look at it the other way, where, like, for me, it's like, hey, look, if you want to come to Rochester, awesome. We'd love to have you here. This is our hometown. See, if you're new to the show, Danger and I, particularly Danger, you could have gone anywhere. Okay, you get offers to go anywhere. No, we both married the Rochester girl. We're here.
Moderate to severe Italian wife. It's a symptom of the lives of Danger and Battaglia.
Executive producer does not find that funny.
No, she doesn't like. She doesn't like the side effect of moderate to severe Italian wife being a symptom of our life.
Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, Labor Day weekend. It was like, okay, you know what? Come up to Rochester, but at least you don't have to worry about getting back to work on Monday.
Yeah, I had people coming in from Minnesota, like childhood friends that I grew up with in Minnesota. And in Minnesota, Labor Day weekend is like, this is the last chance for us to actually like tear it up before everything goes to hell.
Well, they're just tearing it up. Did they think they were coming to New York?
They absolutely tore it up, by the way, at my wedding. Yeah. They absolutely tore it up. In fact, where we had our reception may never be the same. There's a different kind of fertilizer happening on some of the greens at the golf course where we had the reception. I'll leave it at that. Just a bunch of animals. Absolute animals. Yeah, cannot be contained, cannot be controlled. We got to get to a round of shots next in the sports bar.
That's what happens. I'm not even looking at the clock. Knicks are down 3-1. What kind of task is this? Well, we'll tell you what statistically the history or why this is tough for New York in this. We do have some news about, we brought up the Sonics earlier. We have another Sonics story that's actually not good about one of their former greats. And Bryce Harper update here as seen last night, not looking too good against the Braves.
Okay, we'll get to that and more next. We have time for your calls. As we give you last call before we close up shop at 6, 585-8664-FAN. If you want to have the final word in the sports bar, 866-4326.
Sports. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Organized team activity is continuing at One Bills Drive today. Defensive end Greg Rousseau putting in the work.
It's cool to be back. It's been a minute since we've been on the field with helmets on and stuff and in like a competitive mindset. So, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to be back. You know, everybody brings their own style to the way they play. So to have new faces that are going to help us out, it's been exciting because everybody kind of, like I said, carries a different skill set.
Break up the Rochester Red Wings. They've won 3 in a row. 5-0 the final over Columbus in a game that started 11 this morning. Say 2 teams tomorrow night at Innovative Field. On the Major League scoreboard, the Mets do not get the sweep over the White Sox. Chicago winning 9-4. Dodgers falling in Cleveland 7-4. Guardians with 5 runs in the 8th inning to take that. Detroit over San Francisco 4-3. The Red Sox falling to the Brewers in 10, 6-5. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
If you want pure, unfiltered, unadulterated sports, you've come to the right place. 95.7 FM, The Fan, Rochester.
Happy hour continues in the sports bar. Danger and Battaglia. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching on our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester. Like and subscribe while you're there. And we sound our best in the free-to-download Odyssey app. That's Audacy. Let's get to a round of shots, Gino.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to see the sun here until Sunday, Danger.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great news.
Yeah. Rain in western New York. Say that 5 times fast. Tonight, tomorrow, maybe Friday, Saturday, with forecast Saturday-looking sketch. I would guess the wedding ceremony for Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld is not going to be held in western New York.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to have the ceremony in Buffalo if you're Haley Steinfeld?
You know, funny thing, Jim Kelly did that, and it was like a royal wedding when he and Jill got married, coming out, and the whole town was around. I don't think they want that. Deion Dawkins, he's going to get fined, right, by his teammates for this. He actually let it slip a few months back that Saturday is the day. Now he's just playing coy like everyone else. Sean McDermott was asked about it. He said, nice try. Us Weekly, we got to go to the gossip pages here, Danger, says that this wedding Saturday will be, quote, very intimate, but very extravagant.
Do you know which wedding have you gone to in your life that you could go to 100 weddings and never be at a wedding as extravagant as this wedding? Ooh. The most extravagant wedding that you've ever been to, Gino?
No, it won't even touch this.
No, I know, but where was it? Let's compare notes.
Long Island.
It was on Long Island?
Yeah.
And when you're there, what made it extravagant? What about it was extravagant?
It's just probably the prices and everything. Yeah, the fact that, it was just a little out of our price range.
Yeah, I remember going to, not Long Island, but the Pierre in New York, right off of Central Park. And I just remember thinking to myself, everything around me is way more than I would have spent on anything at my wedding. I could go to 100 weddings and not be at a wedding as extravagant as that wedding. So you have the opportunity, like if you have a friend or friends who have the means to pull off that kind of wedding, take the invitation, go with it, man. That's a memory. I'll always remember that wedding. I'm like, this is unbelievable. The food, the atmosphere,
but
everything about it.
It's not like now that would just be the destination wedding, right? That would be like that replaces the over the top. We're going all out.
Right. Well, I see. I think that's the only destination wedding that's not true. I've gone to multiple weddings out of town, but if you consider when I hear destination wedding, I think, oh, we're going to Cancun or we're going to the Bahamas or whatever. I don't really think of New York City as a destination wedding, but I guess that would be a destination wedding.
I guess so. Teams that have come back from a 3-1 deficit in the NBA playoffs. It doesn't happen as often as you might think. Only 13 times in league history has this ever happened. The most famous, probably the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers rallying against Golden State in the finals, taking Game 7 on the road. The last time it actually happened, I know you're going to say this doesn't count. It
doesn't count.
It's the bubble year.
Nope.
Denver did it twice at Disney. So... Therefore, we could say last time it really happened was 2016.
That's
right. This is the challenge the New York Knicks have ahead of them, for that matter, Minnesota. But at least the Knicks are home for Game 5, which is tomorrow night. Tyrese Halliburton, as I'm sure you've heard by now, a triple-double, 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds, No turnovers. First player to record a triple-double in the playoffs with no turnovers since they began tracking this stuff in 1978.
He's good. The last I checked, he's good. And the Knicks have their work cut out for him. It does appear, and I think Boston was the better team in the last round as well, but Indiana's a better team than the Knicks.
Well, Carlisle is a better coach than Missoula. You can't sever, like to me,
True.
Boston, like, okay, it's not drive to the basket.
Yeah. Carlisle's a champion. He knows what it takes. And his guys are responding. Now, what I want to see out of the Knicks, what I want to see out of Brunson, for the most part, has been great, but I just want to see Brunson elevate the play of everybody around him. Brunson and Cat are kind of carrying things. OG stepping up a little bit. It was a good game last night, right?
That's the thing. It's like you can't say, "Oh my gosh, the Knicks were the bricks and they're doing this and they're." No, like you watch, they were entertaining, but then with like 2 minutes to go, it's like, ooh, this is slipping away.
Yeah,
and that might have just been Indiana being at home. Former Sonics guard Sean Kemp looking at 9 months to a year in jail. This after a plea of assault. This stemming from a shooting of two men in a mall parking lot in Washington State. The Rain Man now, you're chasing people down. How did this happen? Well, Kemp, 55 years old now, working at a dispensary when he learns his car was broken into where things were stolen from his car. He tracked down the perpetrators and then, well, he went vigilante mode here.
Oh, man. That's a fall from grace, man. That's a player that I think everybody, if you were up in our era watching the NBA, who didn't love the Rain Man? He was a fun player.
If we talk about teams in NBA history, great teams that didn't win a championship, okay, you would say maybe the first go-around with Oklahoma City, right? That's probably the most recent.
You just think of those three players that they had anchoring that team. You look at it now and you're like, how did they not win one?
It's criminal.
How did Westbrook, Durant, and KD not win a title in Oklahoma City?
Yeah.
Or Harden. I'm
yeah.
sorry. What did I say? Westbrook.
Yeah, KD and Durant are the same guy.
Yeah. That's what I meant. KD, Harden, and Westbrook not winning a title just doesn't seem right.
Yeah. The Knicks during Jordan's era, a lot of people would point to for sure. But I'd also say the Sonics with Gary Payton.
Sean Kemp.
Detlef Schrempf. How about Detlef Schrempf?
That's a pull.
Put some love on his name, Gino.
Jack Sikma, if we're going old school here. That's before your time.
That's a fall from grace.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like hearing stories like that, Gino. That makes me sad. Because I remember that team. I remember that player, and he was fun. He was a fun guy to watch. And after professional athletes' playing careers are done, I'm always worried about what they have that can fill that void, what they have that will make them whole.
Well, at the very least, you want to find if you want to see Vince Carter, who, by the way, was at Bill's practice yesterday. Like, that's what you want to see. Like, I'm gonna do what I love, and maybe I'm gonna go on a new endeavor. You don't want to be working in a dispensary, going after people who rob your car.
Jeez.
We're tracking a Stanley Cup final rematch here, Danger. It's looking that way. Florida with another chance to close out Carolina tonight. 8 o'clock on TNT. The Panthers are up 3-1. This game in Raleigh, though. Meanwhile, it's Edmonton. They are rolling, although they have an injury. They're up 3-1 on the Dallas Stars. Dallas looking to stay alive. That's back home tomorrow night for game number 5.
Okay, let me throw this wild theory out at you. The Sabres haven't made any coaching changes. The only personnel change that they've really made is bringing in Stahl, right?
Hold on. Are you suggesting Brindamore?
Yeah.
No. You'd have to let go of Lindy first before bringing in Brindamore.
Why?
Don't they have like some sort of EEO thing where you got to know it's the NHL?
I don't know, man. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's a couple of openings that are still out there, and Pittsburgh. I'm just thinking to myself, okay, teams that could make a move that haven't made moves, are they waiting for something to free up? Are they waiting for Brindamore? Does Brindamore want out of Carolina?
He should. I mean, I would think the way that they're run, he could make more money elsewhere.
Would that be exciting if you're a Sabres fan? Would that be the thing that could get you excited?
Oh, that's a tough one.
In the season of
'Cause
hope.
We're conditioned not to like Carolina. We don't like our Carolina GM. We don't like his BFF who's cheering on Carolina.
You could bring in a guy that was
And
also
now,
a part of that team.
Now you're bringing in the guy, but out of all them, okay, I don't respect Kevin Adams. I don't respect his BFF. You do respect Rob Brindamore.
Brindamore's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
He's a hell of a coach. He was a good player, and he's a hell of a coach.
By the way, Zach Hyman, the player that is out for the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah.
This after the injury he suffered last night, hurt midway through the first period after colliding with Mason Marchment.
If I am Connor McDavid, and I'm the captain of that team, and I'm sure this has happened, but you have to get those guys to rally around the Hyman injury. I mean, that guy was on an absolute tear this postseason. He was hitting everybody. He had over 100 hits through the start of this season. Physical, goal scoring, just playing out of his mind. Everybody on the team has to go out there and get a hit. Do it for Zach, and let's get the win, and let's move on to the Stanley Cup final. Let's get a cup and put Zach's name on it.
This time tomorrow, Danger, going to be paying attention to one game in the NL East. Here's why. That being Braves Phillies. So that was rained out tonight.
Okay.
So sometimes they'll say, we're going to make it up later in this season. They're going to make it up tomorrow. Doubleheader in Philadelphia. Here's what happened last night. Phillies dodging a bullet. Bryce Harper taking a Spencer Strider 95-mile-an-hour fastball to the elbow, which, by the way, was not protected. Had to leave the game. Big concern. X-rays were negative. We're not sure if he was going to be playing today or not. It gives him another day to rest up. It's the same elbow, by the way. He had Tommy John back in 2023. Harper, by the way, off to a slow start by his standards, batting .265, 8 home runs this year. That doubleheader tomorrow may be getting some attention because Ruben Amaro and others suggesting that the Phillies should retaliate against the Braves for. And again, they're not throwing at Bryce Harper. It was just a fastball that went inside.
Okay. Well, Acuna's going to have to wear a fastball. Sorry. These are the unwritten rules of Major League Baseball. So when you're stepping in Acuna, just know you're going to be wearing a fastball at some point tomorrow.
It's not the leadoff hitter. It's not the shortstop. It's Acuna that's got to be.
Go after the star.
Yeah.
Go after the star. Hey, it wasn't intentional. Okay. Great. Wasn't intentional. Guess what? Your star is going to have to wear one. Right to the ribs. Good luck. Oh, that'll be fun to watch. The unwritten rules of Major League Baseball. I think that has to happen. It's only fair.
Somewhere baseball writers nodding and approving at your take, Danger.
You think so?
Oh, loving that. Yes.
And then it should be a benches clearing brawl where everybody just, I want more violence. Let's go. Everybody out. Clear. I think he needs to wear one. I think the Braves have to brace for that. And sorry, Strider, we'll buy it. You didn't mean to throw at a star player. Yeah, one of your teammates is going to have to wear one, and that's probably going to happen tomorrow. So we'll look out for that. That's interesting.
Cubs host Colorado tonight. Chicago minus 350 on the money line. Like that's like anything over 300, but like it's still May minus 350. Yeah, not going anywhere near that.
Cubs winning game 1 and game 2 of this series. Well, actually, let me see here. Yeah, game 3 of the series tonight. So looking for the sweep of the Rockies tonight. And as we discussed earlier, if you're a Mets fan and you're defending a loss against the White Sox, I would say check yourself. Yes, you won the series, but you don't get a cookie for winning a series against the White Sox.
Feels kind of loserish in my opinion. Well, we won the series. No, it's the White Sox. You should be agitated.
Right now, the Cubs, according to ESPN Analytics, have an 85% chance of beating the Rockies tonight. If the Cubs lay down for the Rockies tonight, I'm not coming in tomorrow going, well, we won the series. I'm pissed. And if you're a Mets fan, I would be pissed. I would be pissed. You don't lose to the White Sox. Come on. You need to be better than that. What does the world look like tomorrow at this time, Gino? We're going to be back starting at 3. Brand new episode.
Out of time. I'm sorry. Again, Fades 13 win Buffalo plus talk about that Josh Allen way. Like that's your story, right? Everybody's gonna be
Everybody
thinking
getting out of town.
Yeah, like the
final
Josh,
practice.
By the way, we made it all the way through without mentioning America's couple today. I was looking for updates. What's going on, Jordan? What's going on, Bill?
Nothing new.
Pablo, get on that.
Okay. We'll be back tomorrow starting at 3 o'clock. Dan Fates stops by. We'll talk some Buffalo Bills from Buffalo Plus 13 Wham. That's at 3:25 tomorrow afternoon. If you missed PJ Glasser, the host of Send It In on the BetMGM Network, or Alex Brasky, Bills Digest, and the Batavia Daily News, you can get those conversations wherever you get your shows. If you like the podcast, search out the Sports Bar on your favorite platform, and you'll find us there. And that includes the free-to-download Odyssey app. Or you can just go back and watch the show again on our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester. JR Sport Brief next. Have a great night. This is The Fan Rochester.
You're listening to Sports Bar with